Live from the basement on a Monday night. Welcome to the show. It's your man, 50 Grand Kevin Barnes, and I am the host of Outlaw Radio. So, like we always do about this time, here we go. You see me with the Outlaw Radio apparel on, the zip up hoodie, the black joint. Get with me, get one of these, inbox me. I know the weather is changing, so everybody's going to soon want to get up on the Outlaw Radio t-shirts, which we'll also have available. All you got to do is inbox me your size, your style, what color you want, because we specialize in kind of creating a variation. So this is not just the black. We got the gray. We got a bunch of different types of scenarios for you to enter into. But in the meantime and in between time, man, welcome to the show. Like I said, this is Outlaw Radio. My name is Kevin Barnes. I'm the host. Normally, we are on Mondays and Wednesdays from 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time until whenever I choose to cut the machine off. What is Outlaw Radio about? Well, I'll take a minute to tell you. My co-host will come along as we get situated. You know how that is. Black people. You know how we do with our tardiness. But so no, there's a lot of premium black news and there's a lot of conversations that the black community should be having, and these conversations should be had in an uncensored, non-judgmental, scholarly way. And I think a lot of times with platforms that we create, sensationalism kind of becomes the norm for it. And so you get addicted on some Morton Downey Jr. What's my man name? Jerry Springer type information. But we don't do that on Outlaw Radio. As a matter of fact, one of our cardinal rules is anything you say on this show, you're right, because 9 times out of 10, it's your opinion. Now, if you say some shit that's statistically wrong or factually wrong, then you get corrected. But you have the right to say what you want to say, whether people agree with it or not. So that's kind of the gist of what we do on Outlaw Radio. My sister Sharon Evans is in the chat room. How you doing, my sister? She said, "What's going on?" I do want y'all to know there's a number attached to the show, right? So it's 262-202-5131. That's 262-202-5131. And then our chat room's always popping. I told y'all my co-host will come along as I roll. What's going on with you, Rail? How you doing tonight?
Peace, man. How you doing this evening?
I am well. I am well. I'm blessed. I'm highly favored. I get to do Outlaw Radio again on Monday night. And y'all know how I feel about this thing we do. How was your weekend, man?
It was cool, man. I was able to get to a church service on Sunday. You know, it was pretty smooth.
Okay.
My family church was having a friends and family day, so my son invited me to church. So I made it, and I was glad I did. It was nice to see the impact my presence had on people.
Man, now that's interesting because if people watch the show, you have a journey, you have a story about your involvement in the church and religion and that kind of thing, and you're often very vocal about some of what goes on in the church. So I want to make sure we talk about that as we move along. I want to make sure we talk about that because, first of all, I'm surprised you didn't melt when you walked into church based on some of the stuff you've said on the show.
And that's what's crazy. That's what my pop said. He was like, "Man, I gotta come." He said, "Let me make sure I come with you just in case your head burst into flames. I can fan you off."
Right.
But it is, it is what it is. Like I said, I liked how my presence impacted others. Others was happy to see me there. It was a lot of people who, soul felt good that I was there. So that,
man, don't the love feel good? Don't it feel good to receive love, especially when you ain't expecting it, right?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's cool to help other people feel good. I mean, I still got my beliefs. I mean, because they not different beliefs, they just advanced. I'm Gnostic. So Gnosticism is to Christianity what like Kabbalah is to Judaism. So it's like, I guess if you would put it like Christianity is like high school, Gnosticism is like college and the doctorate level and shit like that.
Uh-oh. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. The witch
Okay.
doctor is here. The witch doctor is here.
Peace,
My partner,
y'all.
Mr. Carter, man,
Peace,
better late
peace.
than never, I guess. What's popping with you?
All right, man. All right, man. Just happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Kamar. Kamar, you did a dope ass reel for Outlaw Radio. I tried to share that son gun. Man, I put it everywhere. I put paint where it ain't at, man. I was trying to share that thing everywhere, man. That's dope that you did that. And see, this is the kind of thing I talk about with what we do. Is like it's not like I called Kamar and said, go do this. He just did it because of his love and his
What we do,
dedication to the
man.
show.
I am Outlaw Radio. You know what I'm talking about?
That's what's up, man.
I'm
Most
the
definitely.
ghetto witch doctor, right? This is where the ghetto witch doctor comes from, Outlaw Radio.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out to you and shout out to Courtney. We did purchase the domain for our website. See, I had the website in development, and I switched because if people remember, once again to give myself some props, I was one of the first cats with this podcast shit in this area to do Zoom right after the pandemic, and we couldn't go. Come on, remember we couldn't be in the studio like we normally have been, because my wife was like, nobody else is coming in this damn house. So I jumped on Zoom and
She
we
put an
started doing
end.
the
She
show.
put an end to that shit. Like,
Yes, sir. She cut that off, right? She
hey,
shut the
look,
whole Chocolate City Studios down.
hey, Kim. Hey, remember though? We was thinking like back then, like they was talking like, hey, yeah, in about 2 weeks, everything will be fine again, and a month, everything will be fine. And man, look, it was about 2 years.
2 years, 2 years, and the world still ain't the same.
Still
But
ain't
so I had jumped on Zoom, and this is where the concept of live from the basement comes from, because it was literally me live from the basement with Kamar. I think Liz and brother Jay was on the show with us. So I switched up to StreamYard, and the guy who's doing my website got pissed at me because he was like, well, I was setting you up to do Twitch and something else, and there's different kind of codes, and I don't even know nothing about StreamYard. So he gave me my money back. So I said, okay, we won't be able to do the website right now. But Courtney, shout out to Courtney, hit us up like, y'all need to go and buy the domain. Let's get this thing popping. We have an Outlaw Radio page now. And I want everybody to go and like the page. I'm gonna share the show to that page. We got to get that up because I would prefer to start streaming the shows from the Outlaw Radio page as opposed to my personal page.
Yeah, that and that helped us. It helped easier. It helped to easier find the show. Like I could tell people, hey, go to Outlaw Radio on Facebook.
Yes, instead of go to Kevin Barnes' Facebook page. But if they go to the People's News Network, all the shows are in there. I share this show in every group. I'm a member of so many groups. But we, like I said, we're gonna put some paint where it ain't. We're gonna make sure we cover all our bases so people can get access to the show. And I want to tell you, if you're listening right now, share the show, share the show, share the show. If you ain't gonna hit the Cash App and donate, if you're not gonna purchase some of the apparel, I got the zip up joint on. I don't know if y'all noticed. My wife knocked this shit out the park. These is dope. You can't see it on that angle either. I'm playing with my angles, right? Playing with my angles. I don't know if I should say that out loud. Real like, yeah. Talk about that. No, just the zip up joint, man. Hit me up, man, for the apparel. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Let me get back to this because people are in the chat room, and I love for the chat room to be involved. It kind of makes the show 3D, man. I'm trying to tell you. Sharon Evans says, I have to get back to church. It's the filling station. Word. We're gonna talk about that. Serena, she said, I need a cleansing tea, Dr. Kamar. Shout out to Armando Duckworth. He hit me with the first double bubble paragraph of the night. He says he's raising $10,000 for Kicks for Kindness. He wants people to help. He's got his PayPal up there. He said a lot of convos need to be held in person. Tones need to be heard, facial expressions need to be seen, and energy needs to be felt. And I'm all for it. So how many churches, mosques, community centers, business owners, and influential people are ready to be in one room at one time and put all of this on the table to come up with solutions? New Creation Church, Mount Carmel, Roll Call, Crossroads. Damn, that's a long one. Hold on. I didn't get it all. Okay, yes, I did. Serena says she got the Cash App. Hit me up for the apparel, Serena. Just let me know what style and what color you want, black or gray, zip up or pullover. It's about to be t-shirt season, y'all. We about to flood the market with the Outlaw Radio tees, man. And so get with it. Armando, he said he love y'all, man. The love is reciprocal, my brother. I guarantee you, man.
Peace, man.
Anybody,
Peace,
and let
peace.
me say this: if you're out there and you're listening to our show and you wonder, like, okay, why should I listen to this or that? Because I have several options right now. You have to understand that all we do on this show for our people in our community is show love. If you got something positive or progressive to do or promote or say in the community, here's your huckleberry, right? You can get on here. Most of the time, we promote people shit for free. So it's not like, a lot of cats with that underlying overlay for the underplay. No, 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 no. You can get heard, and we're seen and we're respected, and people understand that there's a lot of validity in what we do. So get with me if you're doing anything positive in the community, absolutely. And support my brother Kamar with Nature's Nature. My brother Rel is an author. We got a lot of stuff going on, man. Sharon Evans said, Rel, you need to co-host this idea me and my daughter have for a podcast on blacks and religion. Okay, well, just pillage my talent while we on the air. It's all good. Right, right.
And peace to Sharon Evans. I met Sharon Evans in person down at the gallery.
Okay.
Peace,
I mean,
peace,
if you ever have any questions, my inbox is definitely open. I love to help. It's about for me. I don't mind if you like. I don't give a fuck what you believe as long as what you believe serves you. As long as it helps you be your best person. As long as it helps you impact the community in a beneficial, positive way. Do your thing. You know what I'm saying? I just like to show people how to have power in the shit. Don't use your religion to sit on the sideline waiting for somebody to hop out the sky and handle your business for you. And don't, shunt accountability and blame a motherfucker in red pajamas when you know you fucked up.
Dion, he said, Kev, what's up? Shout out to Dion, man. Dion is one of his aliases, but he's on the YouTube joint. I got to go on and share the YouTube page as well. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get to that expeditiously, like they say. Oh, man. Mama Jenkins in the building. She said, what it do, Outlaw family? Make it do what it do. I'm here.
Peace,
I'm here to
peace.
help make it work. Absolutely, you are, Mama Jenkins. You are an integral part of what we do because we was just talking about receiving love. And so one of the things, because like Rel was talking about how people felt when he went in the church and people had seen him and maybe he had been, they had been praying for him or whatever. It's the same way with Outlaw Radio, man, because I've learned, and I'm one of those anti-everything type cats. And so I've learned to be appreciative when people show me love. It's still hard for me to take a compliment for the show, believe it or not. Like when I talk to cats and they be like, yeah, man, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Because I always feel like don't gas me up, right? Like I don't need you to blow smoke up my ass, right? So but I've learned to appreciate people showing love for the show, people hitting me with cash apps, people buying the apparel, people sharing the show, saying good things about us. I've become very appreciative of that. So I understand how that means.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. Niggas ain't fucking with me like that.
Well, I mean,
okay.
Damn.
Welcome to the show,
Right,
Courtney.
y'all like, hey, lady, hey.
Right. Rude ass. Right.
She came in on the Rick James.
Right.
Came
in Shanae style. I'm a lady. What's going on, Juice Lady? What's poppin'?
Just noticing how ain't nobody really giving up no dollars around here.
Recession, baby. It's recession.
Man, it's rough out here. I guess they'd be like, I done bought the tea, I bought the book, I bought a hoodie. I ain't got no more money. Y'all got to support the Juice Lady. We got to get our tools and fuse together and hit the Juice Lady cat. You don't need, but you big time. You got the Village. You got Alky's Juices. You got so many muscles in your hustle. It's a shame.
But I still need donations now. Y'all come on, donate now. As we growing.
Okay. Is it still National Women's Month? Because if it wasn't, we'd have muted Courtney.
It's March.
It's still a month. I gotta let her talk, right? I gotta let her talk. Let me see. Chat room popping.
Equinox, everybody.
Right, I was gonna say that it's the spring equinox. It's springtime.
Y'all see
the real New Year's.
It was kicking in.
Yep.
Sharon Evans said, 4:30. She said it was great to meet you in person, Kamar. TR Arthur, I got your hoodie coming this week. Been behind the 8 ball. I got it. I stumbled out the gate. I ain't gonna even lie. I gotta get it. I'm gonna get it to you this week. She said, "Good evening, Kev, Kamar, Rail, and the Outlaw family."
Peace,
Absolutely.
peace.
Hey.
Share the show, y'all. She said, "I'm ready for the t-shirts." Mama Jenkins said she ready for the t-shirts. I'm gonna do the t-shirts a little bit different. I'm going to buy the t-shirts in bulk and just have them, and so I could get them out quicker. The hoodies is a little bit different because you got to kind of look around for stock for hoodies, and the prices vary. And I don't know if you understand profit margins and things of that nature, but t-shirts are a little bit more
You
easy
been
to
to
find.
shirtchamp.com? Because you've been working on that business credit now. Shirt Champ. I was looking at hoodies, and the hoodies are low, shirt for the low. Go on shirtchamp.com, kid. Maybe set up your little business account. But Shirt Champ, yeah.
Yeah, I don't handle that part of the business. That's the boss lady who,
Well, tell the boss lady check out Shirt
yeah,
Champ.
yeah, she got her own sources. She'll probably tell you I'm good. That's the kind of personality she has, where you be like, "Hey, I know you can get shirts for the low." She'd be like, "Oh, I'm fine." And that means she ain't trying to hear what the fuck you talking about. Like, that's the story of my life. I'm good. I'm telling you, I'm good. She said, let me see. Cena Welch, how you doing, my sister? Welcome to the show. I hope it says Cena. I'm assuming that it's a female. If it's not, please correct me. Tiarsha Arthur says, "Hello, Juice Lady."
Hey.
Ewok says she better start selling beer.
Okay. Look,
It's
gotta
to the
sell my
juice.
a little Hennessy on the side with a shot.
Uh-oh.
Hey,
Uh-oh.
look,
Sea Moss Hennessy, right?
I've been learning how to make wine for when I start growing these grapes and shit.
Don't be
Dion says, "Bay." I know he ain't talking to me. I know he ain't talking to me, so he got to be talking to Courtney. Dion says, "Bay."
Girl in a minute. Don't be happy.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Courtney, I think you and Dion need to talk offline because Dion ain't got no shame. He will get romantic on the air like "Bay," right? Like, right. You know how much you really got to care about a female to say "Bay" to her. Like, that don't even sound right coming out masculine wise as you say
ain't
"Bay."
say it right, Kev. You said it all fucked up. That's
I
why.
know.
All
See,
uncomfortable, like you ain't feel right saying it.
totally uncomfortable. Totally uncomfortable. I'm from Capital. I'm about as romantic as a dirty nickel. I'm trying to tell you, I am not the romance guy. You know what? I bought some calla lilies, which I know is my wife's favorite flower. I bought some for her the other day, and she was kind of like, "What? You bought flower? What?" Like, yeah, man. Like I said, I'm from Capital, man. We don't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? We don't do no flowers and all that boys to men shit. We don't do that. Let me stop before I be sleeping on the couch tonight. Let me see. Sharon Evans said, "I guess the boss lady says no to the Adidas jacket." Sharon, I totally forgot about it's so much going. I'm telling you, between my job, my regular plantation job, and this, it's just it's a lot going on. And people say, "Plantation job, what's that?" That's just metaphoric for what you got to do, right? Where you get up in the morning, it's time to make the donuts. If you got one of them where you got to actually answer to somebody else to get your check, that's what we refer to that as a plantation job. You ain't free till you write your own checks. I'm a long way away from that. Oh, let me talk to her about that. Let me reiterate, just suggest that to her again. I'm sure she can make it happen. She will. She ain't that difficult. Sometimes I just exaggerate to make myself look like the good guy. But anyways, first of all, I want to say we've been talking about hip hop's 50th anniversary. It was Mr. Magic's birthday. A lot of people say they know hip hop. They say they know about where the music came from. Everybody talks about the culture this and the culture that. But if you don't know who Mr. Magic was, then you got to go back and do a little research, because Mr. Magic was the brother in New York City who was a DJ who decided to put hip hop on the radio. And the morning show, or it wasn't the morning show, it was the hip hop show. What was it? The world premiere, something like that, back in the days. And it came on late at night, early in the morning, and it was all of the rappers. It was mostly the Juice Crew. He's also one of the proprietors of the Juice Crew with Marley Marl and Biz Marquis, Kane, where the symphony comes from. But Mr. Magic is the one who put hip hop on the radio and showed black radio stations that hip hop is viable. Because before that, black radio stations didn't want nothing to do with rap. Imagine that. A time when black radio stations didn't want anything to do with rap. So he in New York started the whole thing about hip hop being on the radio. That kind of jump started the hip hop culture in New York. And all these years later, this is what we have. And I'm not, actually proud of everywhere it's at, but I lived through the era when he got kicked off due to what Mr. Magic did in New York. Go and look him up. He's passed away now. He passed away some years ago. But even the classic, like it goes to "The Bridge Is Over" by KRS-One and BDP. And if you were alive then, you know that shit kind of took over the world one summer. And that's how
Mhm.
KRS-One got to be who he was. But that was a diss song aimed at Mr. Magic and Marley Marl and the Juice Crew because
Mm-hmm.
they tried to get down with the Juice Crew and they said Mr. Magic took their record and broke it over his knee and threw it in the corner. And so KRS-One said, "Oh, really?" And then he went and wrote "The Bridge Is Over." Now, we had MC Shan on the show. I'm doing my hip hop shit early. We had MC Shan on the show. If you don't know who MC Shan is, he was an original Juice Crew member. He came up under Magic. We talked about Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Magic. We talked about what they call the bridge wars and all that kind of stuff. Shan's still a little bitter behind it, man. I'm gonna dig that show up because it's one of the best interviews, most fun
He,
that I've
he
done.
always sound angry when he talk about it, man.
Oh man, Shan is
Always. I
right.
mean, I guess understandably so, though.
Yeah,
Just
Cause
yeah, yeah.
hey, it's like a claim of the hip hop. You
right,
know what
right,
I mean? Like
Right,
who's the motherfucker that got hip hop popping? You know what I mean? It's
right.
like a claim for them. It ain't just about being the greatest rapper. You know what I'm saying?
The
right,
But
right.
bridge, the
which
Queens
neighborhood
Bridge,
did this come from?
Yeah, what borough and all that.
the
And like I say,
bridge.
Shan, if you go watch that show, Shan got mad at me. Like he
Oh
kind of
damn.
he didn't get mad, but he kind of put me in my place a couple times because I was saying that Kane was the coldest MC from the Juice Crew, and I said KRS-One was one of my favorite MCs, and he went off on me like, how you think that came about? Everybody you just named, I'm instrumental to their career. That's my Shan voice. So you just been a fan of me forever and you didn't know it. I'm like, damn, man. I said, why you on the show, Shan? It was a great interview, man. So he passed away, man. So Mr. Magic passed away some years ago. So it's a lot to that story. Cold Chilling Records. Go and do the research on it. And that should be a movie. That should actually be a movie. The whole Cold Chilling Juice Crew.
I'm sure it's gonna come.
It has to be Biz Markie, Roxanne Shante, Kane, Coogee Rap, Craig G,
Mhm.
Master Ace. It was the first rap super group, right?
Yeah.
And the first rap label that was, and we was buying those records, man, because Biz and them, that's the class of '88. A lot of that, once again, another
Hey,
hip hop
man,
thing.
look, I remember growing up in Westlawn, going up on the playground, and that was the shit they all had going on the boom boxes while they playing basketball and
The
shit.
All
vapors.
day,
You know what
all
I'm
day,
saying? Dog, it was so live out there, man. You know what I mean? It was so
all day,
live out there.
all
If
day.
anything would happen, it would be a fight. That's it.
Right, right. Police pull up and make sure, put cats throw they because it's a crap game somewhere and somebody
Right.
smoking a joint, but this is the old school days. Dion said that he never heard of Mr. Magic. Go look if you like hip hop. Some people don't. Some people say I don't give a shit about rap. That's fine. But just a hip hop. I'm the hip hop snob. That's the soundtrack to my youth. And so him and Marley Marl, if you don't know who Marley Marl, the first real DJ to master sampling. You talk about Grandmaster Flash inventing the break beat. Marley Marl revolutionized sampling, right? And so that became the backbone of rap music forever until those old artists said, hold on, somebody owe me some money. And it was
Right,
Biz who
right.
paid the price. Go do the research, man. It's Outlaw Radio on a Monday night. I see y'all in the chat room. The number is 262-202. Scrolling across the bottom of the screen. 262-202-5131. That's my cash app too. You want this apparel or you just like me and you just want to donate to what we doing. You don't need money to build this website. We're gonna need money to do some of the marketing things that we are planning on doing. So,
Yeah.
man, sock it to my pocket, right? I didn't want to say that out loud. That didn't sound good. That sounded pimp-ish. Sock it to my pocket, right?
Look down.
I got pimp bones in my body, right? And I rock them like a lottie dottie. Y'all know nothing about Big Pimpin' by the Dog Pound. Dion says, bro, I fuck with hip hop. Absolutely. A lot going on in the city, man. A lot going on in the city. I wanted to even start. Like I was, it was hard for me to pick a place to start here. Um, and so I felt like since we have neglected to speak on this, I think we probably should get it off top, get it taken care of off top. I want to talk about DeSantis in Florida, right? I want to
Mm.
talk about the conservative movement that's supposedly anti-woke. Um, and it's in Florida, but it's extended its reach all the way up to Wisconsin. I think it was a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, where they were kicking up dust about passing this bill here in Wisconsin, so that you couldn't even teach Black history in
Mm.
elementary schools. So DeSantis has come up with this, and look, this is Trump 2.0, because normally what they do, and I'm talking about racist conservative white America, and not all white people, but racist conservative white America. And if you're part of that, you know what they say: the shoe fits by a matching purse. They start by supporting someone who is not outwardly anti-black, but idealistically anti-black. Somebody who speaks against things that Black people associate themselves with very closely. And so this is what DeSantis has done. He started a spark, and it's now becoming a flame, and he's becoming a conservative hero. He is one of the most vocal ones about attacking critical race theory, and he's extended this to not even just critical race theory, because a lot of people who are Black don't even like critical race theory, but they want to attack the very teaching of accurate history. CRT be damn, right? And he's one of the people at the front, the front lines of this. And so I want to talk about, because he's now coming up with this bill where he would forbid any diversity and equity inclusion programs in schools down there and on college campuses in Florida, which some say would outlaw the existence of Black sororities and fraternities, or the Divine Nine, as they are so known in the country. Now, I've spoken about fraternities and sororities, so I'm not the biggest. I'm not a frat guy. I'm not a sorority guy. When I went to school, I looked at those organizations and I said, I'm cool. No need for me to do that. You know, I like to be one deep when I do my dirt. Because I can't snitch on myself. But also, the whole concept of group thinking, follow me and I'm your leader, and calling somebody big brother, whatever the hell you want to call it. This wasn't in my
Almighty.
repertoire. Right. Yeah. And I told them, not to sidebar the conversation, but they asked me, and I'm not going to say the fraternity, they said, you're a football player, you need to come on and be one of us. And I said, man, the only problem is somebody hit me on my ass with a paddle, I'm burning the whole goddamn frat house down.
Yeah.
So there's no need for me to join. And it's like, oh, brother, that wouldn't happen if I invite you in. And that, I'm cool. But I did have a good time at their parties. Let me see. Ewok said, do you know Blowfly? You better know Blowfly if you listen to rap music. You better know Blowfly. Something else. Go and listen to Blowfly. Blow you away. 1973. He's got rap songs and they triple X rated. Blowfly was a son of a gun. Man. Got some dope tracks too. Mama Jenkins said, Rail, I need to journal this week. I got a great winemaking book for you. In court this week on my great nephew murder trial. It's a damn shame that they select 4 jurors, and this is why we need to vote. Out of 36 jurors, 5 were Black and only 1 was picked. She said we got to change the narrative for our people. That's why I love Outlaw Radio. Y'all be teaching folks. Thank you so much, Mama Jenkins. We always appreciate your love. Well, you can get her that journal.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna inbox her to see what's like a good time and stuff like that.
Okay. Erica Hunt. Shout out to Erica Hunt. She says, who the greedy American? Are you talking about DeSantis? Tiasha Arthur said they arrested the guy that shot and killed Hollywood last July because the guy almost hit his van and his kids was inside. Okay. That was a very popular brother. I didn't know him.
Yeah.
A lot of people knew him. I didn't know the brother. She said Facebook almost blocked her for a comment. Welcome to the party. That's the game we play. So with this whole, I want everybody to be able to kind of expand on this with this DeSantis thing, because, like I said, man, you watch these individuals like Mark. What was the David Duke back in the days, who was like elected and was in office and was ascending to the top of the conservative movement, and then you find out that he was a former Grand Dragon of the Klan, right? And so you get somebody like a Rush Limbaugh, or you get one of these real like anti-black individuals, and people quietly support them. You know, they throw the rock and hide their hand, because believe it or not, a lot of white people had a smirk on their face for how Trump was behaving. His policies be damned, because I've heard a lot of brothers and sisters say, man, but some of his policies were, beneficial, which I still don't necessarily support or believe. But a lot of white people had kind of like a smirk on their face. So I'm saying now with DeSantis and what he's doing, they will secretly get behind him. And this attack on anything that's really black. See, it's like, I'm not going to attack them head on. I'm just going to attack all the things around them, or all the things that they work with. And pretty soon, kill the root, you kill the tree. So is anybody even up on watching DeSantis and what he's doing in Florida?
No, not really, but I want to comment on like how you was talking about the whole anti-woke thing, right?
Okay.
You know, you remember a while back how you and Jay y'all used to say the conscious jokes, the conscious community jokes and stuff, and I'll be like, dog, wait a minute, it's a difference. The conscious, you know what I mean? And see, and this whole woke thing is kind of making it even worse. That whole distinction worse. You know what I'm saying? Because see, I feel like it's an attack on us also, because see, we was originally called the woke community, the conscious or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's a demonization on the shit that we doing now, which is something that's even better. You know what I mean? Because see, the difference was, I was saying, was you got spiritually conscious people and you got socially conscious people. You know what I mean? And a lot of the time when you say conscious, you get the spiritually conscious people mixed up with the socially conscious people. You know what I mean? And there's levels to that whole demonstration. Usually you socially conscious first, and then you get off into the spiritually conscious type thing. And
Okay.
like, I think it's just fucked up how they putting that whole woke demonstration in there. I don't like that word, period. No way.
Yes, we did used to go hard on the conscious community. and in a lot of cases, I do still, but Kamar, you are one of those individuals that help me understand the differences and the levels to it, right? And so myself being closely associated with a lot of the organizations in this city and a lot of the movements, the grassroots movements that are in the city, being around them, hearing a lot of them speak, watching how they move, for me, I was being very accurate, because it was a divisive nature to it, right?
Yeah, that was the socially conscious folk.
Yeah, right. Okay, see, and you broke that down. You used to break that down back in the days, because me and Jay did used to fire off, and you used to be like, well, hold on, are we talking socially conscious or socially woke or spiritually? And so my thing with this is what they've done is taking the word woke, right? And they're applying it to white people as well.
Right.
And they're giving it a negative connotation. So when you hear white people now say anti-woke, you might think, oh, what the fuck you mean? You talking to me? They're not talking to you. They're talking to super liberal white people who are woke. These apologetic white people, the people who want to do DEI trainings at the job and apologize for their white privilege, and they just it's almost like what do they call it, pandering to us, right?
I don't know, Kev, because I remember this white boy I remember this specifically because I remember the shit irritated the fuck out of me. This white boy was in my motherfucking lift and I had it on NPR, and he was like, hey babe, look, she's woke. Like, bitch, I'm woke because I'm listening to NPR? Like that, like get the fuck out of here, because I'm listening to information.
Did you have Andrew Dice Clay in your lift? It sounded like he said,
right. Was he saying it like as a
information? That's what I took it as. So any black person that's getting information, we're woke.
Like, did he seem woke? Like maybe he was happy that he found a fellow woke person he could be woke with, something, or
didn't sound like he was a white boy. Like, oh, this nigga listening to some
He was talking about woke in the sense that Kevin is speaking on DeSantis.
Okay.
He that kind of woke.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what
that's a whole different, and that's even different than just socially conscious.
That's a whole different thing. And
because now you just talking about LGBT community and all that type of shit.
Yeah, well, if you are
you know what I mean? And that never had nothing to be conscious.
If you pro gay, if you're pro anything, I'm telling you, a lot of people, when we talk about
Mm-hmm.
politics, they don't
Tony
understand there's a
Blaze for a
liberal
motherfucker.
agenda, there's a conservative agenda,
Right.
there's a radical agenda, there's a progressive conservative agenda. So within these parties, there's all kinds of different levels, right? And so you take a white
Mm-hmm.
person who says, well, no, that's cultural appropriation, I'm not going to do that. And then a prejudiced white person will say, oh my God, he's fucking woke, this guy's woke. So
Right. Right.
they've taken our, what it
So
was
it's
meant
just
initially, it was meant for black people as kind of like a designation that I
right.
am no longer unaware of what's happened to me and what is happening to me in this country, right? For us, it evolved into conscious because most black people stopped saying woke and start saying conscious, right?
Mhm.
And so then it became the conscious community. But for white people, they're saying woke now in a bad way. They're
Right.
putting that narrative on it. So when you hear white people talking about, oh my God, he's woke, like it's a sarcastic,
That mean
one of
they
those
basically
sarcastic
saying you
things.
against the system, right?
Well, he's saying you're
Mhm.
full of shit. You're a bleeding heart liberal. You a sensitive, basically use a batch, right? As we used to say in the community, I think it's a batch. Let me see. Excuse my language, y'all. Ruben Anderson, my brother, doing big things in the community. Shout out to Ruben.
Go,
He says
Ruben.
evening. Dion says being woke is knowledge of self. Listen,
That's
we
what it's supposed to
understand,
be. That's what that's what
right?
I mean by like spiritually conscious and socially conscious.
We understand that. And then I kind of got sideways because I said to say that I'm woke now indicates that I've been asleep before. I've never been asleep. I've always been
Right.
aware of what was going on with I've always known, no matter even when I was at my worst in terms of my contribution to the community, meaning I was in a community doing things that were negative, I was
Yeah.
still fully aware of what was going on. I was still fully aware that I was being a pawn in my own people's genocide. I knew that. That's what kind of brought me out of it. So, I wasn't, I've never been, my mother made sure that I was fully aware of who I was as a black man and what that meant and how I needed to navigate situations. So I was never asleep. So when people start saying woke, I'm like, well, shit. I like to say aware more so than woke. Aware is a whole different kind of state of mind. So, that's why their
Well, you
narratives
know that's
don't
what
apply to
conscious
me.
mean, and that's what conscious mean.
Exactly. I'm
It means
fully right.
aware.
Just
You
Right.
aware.
know what I mean? Now, see, you aware of what's going on in the community. You know what I mean? You socially conscious. I'm aware of what's going on in the community. You know what I
Right.
mean? And now when you start saying I'm spiritually conscious, I'm aware of how my spiritual systems work. I understand how to use my spirit, manipulate my spiritual systems to benefit life for me. You know what I mean? So
Right.
like it's a difference of being socially conscious and spiritually conscious. That's why I used to
And
get so upset about that shit. Like, dog, don't call me that. Because y'all saying it in the wrong context of what I am. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
and we continue to do it. Bad host, right? We're so horrible, Kumar. I'm sorry we bullied you. I'm sorry we bullied you, right? No, listen, and it's all semantics. It's all semantics anyway,
Right,
Yeah,
because
because
it's
I
a bunch
don't
of
use
different
either
words that
word.
mean the same shit, right?
right.
So,
And,
but
and it,
I love how white people twist and kind of manipulate and I'm saying white people. I should say the powers that be, because I'm not one of
right,
them
right.
dudes who blames every white person for every white transgression, although they might be complicit. They are not all directly responsible. But the media, the United States media, the yellow journalism, the sensationalism, this machine that they control to influence the masses always manages to twist and manipulate messages so people walking around. And so now these words start to become declarations, almost battle cries. Like
Mm.
so now you got people who are saying, I'm so sick of these woke bastards. And see, I'm gonna be honest with you. We as a people, we have never been cool with the cancel culture anyways, right?
Mhm.
And so typically now the woke community is the one who's being attributed with wanting to cancel someone. So now it makes you look like, oh, you one of them sensitive motherfuckers where I can't say certain shit around you or you have a conniption fit, right? And
Right.
so it's boxing you in. So I'm just saying, sometimes we gotta watch what we say because words mean things. Case in point, we all totally agree with the concept that Black Lives Matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Us as people of color, foundational Black Americans, if you will, when you said foundational Black American, we said, or when you said Black Lives Matter, we said absolutely they matter. We've been telling y'all this shit for years. Then it became a group. Then it became a movement and an organization that we had nothing to do with the governance of. We received no donations. I still ain't seen, it might be out there, but I haven't seen it, a Black Lives Matter scholarship that's sending kids to school. Because the organization that they have was exposed. And that was just a sneaky way, and I have to say it, for the LGBT community's initiative and their agenda to be slipped in with ours, and they would hope we didn't notice it. And a lot of us backed up off of the Black Lives Matter once we figured out the fraudulent nature. And so some people saying, God damn, I can't stand Black Lives Matter. And Black people wasn't even offended because we was like, shit, I can't either. That shit don't represent me. So we're always a little bit further ahead than they think we are. When they attempt to play these games with us, it's like we sitting there laughing at them like, wow. What we used to say, Kamar, is public masturbation. You playing with yourself and everybody can see it, right? Like, it's just like, yeah, the show used to be a little bit more rougher.
Shit, they still, I mean, whether they was playing with themselves or not, they capitalized like a motherfucker on that shit. I mean, they still ran up bands and allegedly used it to fund the Democratic campaign. So that motherfucker in office right now. So that's what I'll be saying about, unfortunately, us. A lot of us operate so deep off of emotion that they've learned to use our emotions to their advantage. You know, all they got to do is give us a slogan and a cause.
Here we go.
They gentrified the fuck out that Black Lives Matter, ran up a bag, put who they wanted in office, and let that shit fizzle away. All the fuck we got is a George Floyd Avenue type shit.
Crazy.
But that's what they do. And we get played, or the ones who become the fucking attack dog of the liberals is the ones who got played.
Yeah, and I don't want to move the needle too fast because there's some people out there who don't speak fluent politics. So, you know, liberals, they don't know. I don't know the difference between liberal and goddamn conservative. And I don't give a shit. That's the one thing about Black people. A lot of people don't know. We are so focused on surviving most of the time. A lot of shit we don't even care about. It'd be like, man, I don't even pay attention to that shit.
We just know motherfuckers mad. Are we supposed to be mad about something?
Right.
Let's get together and be mad.
Erica Hunt said it's the same thing that big companies did when they added a woke Black section in their stores and slapped green, black, and red on it to keep Black customers. Pandering. Of course they did. Pandering. They did. And that's the name of the game right now. I want to make you feel good so you spend some money, right? You know, just one of my favorite books is, you know, Pimp, The Story of My Life by Iceberg Slim, in which he says ain't nothing better than a happy hooker. And so, you know, he said I like to see them smile because then I know that they're not even really aware of what's going on, and it makes them better workers. So I read the book, not that I applied that knowledge, but that let me know that's a marketing, that's a motivational tool. Like, I'm gonna make you feel real good so you'll work harder and be more dedicated, right? Like, I don't have to enslave you physically. I'm just gonna get your mind and make you think you're doing good. Ernest says woke means exactly what it means. It means I won't let the same person trick me twice. To you it does, but that's not what they're creating with this new narrative, brother. Erica said it's all a distraction and another way for white people to sweep issues under the rug. Dion says, I believe in Black supremacy. Black supremacy. Black supremacy. And I don't know about that. I don't know about that because I am one who says white supremacy does not exist. There's no such thing as white supremacy because white people, by and large, are not supreme to anyone. Now, there's a belief that they are. So there are a bunch of believers in it, but it's not a real thing. That's what makes them ever so ignorant. That's what makes white supremacists so ignorant, because you believe in a phantom concept that does not exist. In what way are they supreme to anyone? I'm not talking about, well, you say, Kev, where they write the laws, they do this, they do that. I'm saying as human beings, physically, mentally, emotionally, creatively, in what way are they superior, supreme? I think they should have called it white ineptitude. Like I think because they don't have every other culture has something. They have something that they do.
I
They
think
have
they
some
should call it
flavor.
the motherfuckers in charge of shit right now.
Say that again, brother.
The motherfuckers in charge of shit right now. That's what it's called. And you
Okay.
know what I mean? They ain't supreme. They ain't over nobody or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But they just in charge of this land that we live on. And we have to live by their rules right now because they're in charge.
They wield a lot of influence, Kamar. They wield a
Yep,
lot of influence. And
definitely.
but I think that the people in this country, as long as they believe that there is a such thing that's really white supremacy, like it all plays off of our inferiority complex because of what you've been programmed to feel, how you've been programmed to think and feel. A lot of us have inferiority complexes where we just feel like white ice is colder. Subconsciously, we do. So when they say white supremacy, I'm a white supremacist, it stokes your emotions. You say, oh my God, somebody,
Answer the phone.
I don't know who would call me be a messenger while I'm on the air, but don't do that. Right. So the cancer culture is a white privilege. Is it? I, is it just white privilege people? I don't know. I see this new generation. I feel like cancel culture is a new generation thing. Because younger people are not totally against it. Our generation, man, honestly, was a little bit tougher than this one mentally. Like we came up, it was very hard to offend us with words, right? Like because we said what we wanted to say. We in our community, we were tough on each other. I tell people all the time, I grew up in a neighborhood where if you didn't want to get ribbed on, don't come out the house. Right. If you didn't want to get talked about, if you didn't want to have to fight, don't come out the house. Don't jump off the porch. Nowadays, young people, a lot of them, like if you say fag or honky or Jew or whatever you say, they go, you can't say that. I don't know how many times I've said something to my daughter, and I don't consider her cancel culture specialist, but I've said some things around her, and she said, Dad, you can't say that. I'm like, what the hell you mean I can't say this? I'm 45 plus. I can say whatever the hell I want. And she says, no, Dad, we don't say that anymore. And so this generation, even black kids participate a lot of times in cancel culture because there's a lot of sensitive black people who have low self-esteem, who I've been bullied. Please don't say that. Armando says they just want money from our community, which they get. He said the BLM, he's talking about BLM. He said they bought a mansion and got exposed. And I don't know where that organization is now, but I will hope that it has no traction because it was fraud. It was fraudulent in its execution. Yes, sir. Sharon Evans said woke is also not allowing or sleeping on the white trickery, passing laws or amending laws and using tricky language. From our perspective, that is what woke is. That is what woke is, Sharon. She says facts. She said, or making Juneteenth Day a holiday. Right? I mean, well, man, how bad, Kamar, did we rib on them when they extended? Like, I was pissed last year about the ice cream. I think I did a whole show about them taking that Juneteenth Day ice cream out of Walmart. Well, I couldn't even try the shit. It was velvet cake ice cream. I was on my way to get me some Juneteenth Day ice cream. And then they made it a national holiday. Now you get a day off work. And then Milwaukee extended MLK a few blocks south. Shit went left. I was like, this is lit, right? And people said it's some bullshit. We just acknowledged Black History Month, and we had a bunch of people call us coons. I was like, damn, I never even thought I'd get handled rough for that.
Man, that's crazy, right? Like I thought we wanted shit, right? Like anything we get, I feel like we should be happy we get something, but then continue to shoot for more. You dig what I'm saying? Everything we get, because I mean, like I said, these are the people in charge, right? And everybody, we all want these people to do certain stuff for us. And I feel like any kind of recognition we could get, we need to accept it, but continue to fight for what the fuck we really fighting for. You dig what I'm saying?
Got you. I do agree with you on that, Kamar. But I would the way you
Instead
turned
of
it.
instead of shitting on each other because one person decide to celebrate it and the other one don't. I feel like we shouldn't be
Well,
doing that.
I
You know
I
what I
feel like
mean? Let's just
I
accept the
get it.
shit that they give us and keep fighting.
I get what they're saying though. It's like if you know you work hard all day and you work in these shitty conditions and white man pulls up and gives everybody a sandwich, and some of the niggas is happy with the sandwich, dancing around
Right,
like I got
right,
bologna, I got
right,
bologna. You like, man, if you don't sit your ass down, oh,
right,
that's what you happy about. I get
right,
it from that perspective, but I wasn't approaching Black history from. I wasn't like that. I was just saying, okay, one of my favorite things to talk about is Black history and Black people. So if we got a whole month dedicated to it, let's start putting some information out here. And I believe on the show we kicked a lot of facts and a lot of knowledge about certain people, and there were people in the chat room like, I never knew that. I didn't know that. I'm gonna
mm-hmm.
go check that out. And I think that's what it's about. Like taking what you can really get, cultivating it and making it grow. So that's
Right,
just kind of like an extension of what Kamar says. And you know, take this shit and be cool, but stay focused on what we really need. You ain't going
right,
to sleep like, oh, everything's all right now. We
right.
got Black History
Everything ain't
Month.
fixed. You know what I mean? We still
Right.
got shit to fight for. That
We
was just
still got shit to go.
that was one step off of, you know what I mean?
Um Kevin Erica says Kevin Barnes unicorn got afro at Target. I don't know who's unicorn and what's afro. I don't know what. Maybe she. People be typing fast. Armando hit us with another double bubble. He says, "Question: Why don't any of the churches, mosques, community centers, businesses, etc., truly do for the community? I'm not talking about using the 501c3 status or tax write-offs to help. I mean, literally getting your whole church, mosque, community center, business to number one, go out into the community and clean up. Two, support the people who are not members but are doing things to better the community and help others. I've spoken to representatives for the community, Bucks. He said I've spoken to representatives for the Bucks organization, and I think it cuts me off. I only get so many characters, y'all. I only get so many characters. Erica said it's Black
Hey
liberation.
yo, I want to. Okay, on that note, I want to give a shout out to the Mods number 3 over on Tatonia, right? I want to give a
Okay.
shout out to them because they work with Black folks. I'm seeing them work with us now. I'm one of them, right? Like different Black businesses, they create markets. They got a whole market that they done started. You know what I mean? That different Black folks can get off into to help generate funds for their business. You know what I mean? To keep them afloat. They also just acquired a whole building. Like, you know what I mean? We're not a building, but a big space, a huge space where they can do a continuing market, like a daily type market. You know what I mean? Where different people can come in and get a space in there and come sell their stuff, have an opportunity to sell their products every day. You know what I mean? So I feel like, yeah, I want to give them a shout out because they are doing something that's I think that's something amazing also, just to take something out of their time. Sister Roe and Sister Brittany.
It is Outlaw Radio live from the basement on a Monday night. You can either get in the chat room or you can give us a call, 262-202-5131. Holler at your boy. Go to our Outlaw Radio page. Go to our YouTube page. Support the movement. Give us a call. Chime in the conversation. I think what Armando is talking about is I know that Armando has been trying to do a lot of things in the community.
Definitely, definitely. Oh yeah, I ain't saying that to take nothing from what he was saying. I was just saying I want to give him a shout out because he was saying how come ain't none of the religions and you know what I mean, different organizations doing nothing for the community. And I just wanted to give him a shout out because that was something that I know that they're doing.
Right. No, I know what you
That's
said, but
all.
I'm saying I understand what his perspective of why he's saying what he's saying because I know he's been trying to do a lot of things, but what he's speaking to is the city of Milwaukee is a city of silos, right? And if you're not down with certain groups or certain organizations, you don't get to take advantage of certain opportunities. Case in point, right now as we speak, I believe at G's Clippers they have the talk whatever men talk whatever it is. They have this live forum at G's Clippers. And by I guess there's some brothers who attend and some brothers who are very passionate who speak and this and that. But we've been doing Outlaw Radio on Monday nights for about 7 or 8 years, way before you start talking in your barbershop, right? I haven't received, and not just for nothing, because I know Kamar's visible in the community, the Juice Lady's visible, Rail is visible. And I know I know they know that I know that they know that I know who I am, right? And what we do. We don't get an invitation to stuff like that because we're not part of their group. But it doesn't bother us because what we've done is we forged our own lane. So there's people who support both, and you can do that, right? So I could easily be upset because I say, man, this is bullshit, and I'm trying to do something, and they won't. These people won't let me in. We talked about gatekeepers, and that was a whole show that we talked about last week. Go back, shows are archived. But I get what Armando's saying. But Armando, it would only take you really getting affiliated with one person, and they could whoever in one of these groups. And I know you like, I don't really want to do it like that. I want to kind of move and groove in my own kind of scenario. Well, if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to do the solo dolo struggle for a minute.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're gonna have to acquiesce and get down with somebody and say, you know what? All right, let me kind of,
because these organizations, they ain't trying to give away no money. They trying to get money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like by the time we get to this level where we at, and you know what I mean, we want some help. We looking to people for help that's really out to get money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what these organizations is about.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It really ain't to help.
It takes consistency, and it takes credibility.
And
I'm not saying he doesn't have them, but it takes a while for you to just be in the same place doing the same thing
and
for a minute.
Yeah, I feel like a lot, and that's something too. I feel like a lot of us, you know what I mean, we give up too early. You know what I mean? We give up before the people really get behind us. A lot of the time, it takes for us to be consistent with what we're doing for them to really believe in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it take a while for people to get with you. And then not only that, you know what I mean? Like, we got to focus on getting money just like everybody else. Like every morning we wake up, we got to start thinking like, what can we do to generate some funds? You know what I mean? Because we all got plans, especially if we got plans that we want to do something. Ain't nobody trying to give away nothing. You know what I mean?
Right about that.
Like I said, these organizations, they looking to these older people to get money. They ain't trying to give none away, really.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? They trying to get it. So like we on a level lower than them to where we got to focus on it. Shit, how we gonna get it? We got to get with each other, like you say. Like you may not want to get with somebody, but you may have to at first. You know what I'm saying? Just to get to the point to where we can do it on our own. And ain't nothing wrong with a little help, man.
Shout out to Ewok. He said that I was talking about the Juneteenth day. He said, "Give me 5 ass ice cream." Say, man, I'm a fat guy. I wanted some of that ice cream, man. I wanted some Juneteenth day ice cream. Listen, once again, I have an issue with black people complaining about everything sometimes because these are the same people complaining about this ice cream who went and drank green beer, right? These are the same people who's complaining about
not me. Not me. I complained about the ice cream and I ain't gonna drink no green beer.
You are the exception to the rule. But if they had a vegan version, you would have been down with the shit.
Nah, man. A vegan version of Juneteenth ice cream. No, I wouldn't have did it.
So Kamar wasn't with Kamar. Okay, but I'm talking about there's a multitude of black people who celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but then say don't give me no Juneteenth Day ice cream. There's black people who's mad about the ice cream, but they celebrate Kwanzaa by snitch ass Karanga and don't even know who Karanga was and don't know what he really did. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes wait for us. At least they should have let me get a pint of the ice cream.
That ain't the same, Kev.
To me, it is.
That ain't the same. Cause see, Walmart making money off of black folks. Karanga ain't making no money off of black folks.
He actually was in the beginning when that was his purpose. Well, I don't know what he's doing now. He's a professor at a college now.
I can't imagine how he would have been.
You don't know if he may even own the copyright to some cards or some of the stationery because he's credited as the inventor. We don't know. If he's not getting money off of it, it's his fault. right? He should have put his pen where his pad was.
Hey, maybe. Hey, dig this. How many niggas done went back to their girlfriend after she snitched and called the police on them?
Okay. So how many niggas done went and bought a new outfit for the 4th of July and bought some fireworks and some barbecue for the 4th of July, but you won't get no Juneteenth Day ice cream? We can do this all night, Kamar. I promise you. I told you. We did a show one time called "The Coon in Me," and a lot of us like to think we super black. I'm the blackest, blackity black, and then you do some cool shit. See some youngsters walking on the street and hit the lock on your car door. I don't want these niggas to rob me. Trying to go somewhere far out, I'm gonna go to the white place because it's better run. I don't even go to Walmart on Silver Spring. I go to one in Menominee Falls. Yeah, dance that dance, Negro. I'm just saying, we all got a little bit in us, man.
Race jokes. Hey, listen, man, this is a comedian I've been watching on Netflix, dog, the past couple days. What's his name? Bert Kusher or something like that.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Man, this motherfucker hilarious, dog. He got this series, man, where he got Dion Cole, a bunch of different comedians, right, man? And they be throwing these race jokes back and forth with each other, man. This shit is hilarious. You gotta catch it, dog.
I've thought so long and hard about doing. We did a show called For Shits and Giggles, and it was all race jokes one time. 2 hours of straight race jokes, and I've contemplated doing part 2 so many times.
Man, that shit
where we are right now, Kamar, I don't know that we could get away with it. Like, cause it was like,
why can't we?
Cause first of all, I got some people who watch my show and they might say, "Come on, Kevin, you can't do that, man. You can't do that." And I'm not gonna say who they are, but I just understand that there's some microscopes placed on the show. I've been told by some people, like, "Hey, people watching what you're doing." So, and that's not to say I'm not gonna tell the truth, but to do race jokes. And I did some offensive race jokes. Like I tried to find the worst ones. I spared a couple apartheid jokes, and I spared a couple Holocaust jokes. Other than that, I went at Latinos, Asians, Black people, white people, Jewish people. I went at everybody. It was a crazy show. But you're right. I'm one of those dudes who laughs at race jokes too, Kamar. Until it becomes like it's not a joke. It's really an insult, and it's meant to disrespect. Then I say, well, that shit's not funny.
Right.
But
if
if
you know the difference, know
yeah.
When you hear it, you know the difference. But I think we ought to be able to kick it like that, man. Like shit, motherfuckers, like we say, motherfuckers' skin is too goddamn soft. Toughen up a little bit. You know
I've
what I
always
mean?
been the type of person where I'm really cooler with the white person that's gonna say, Kevin, I just don't like black people. I just have a problem with them. I don't understand them. I don't understand their community, as opposed to the motherfuckers that say, no, I got a black friend, but then behind your back is hollering nigger, spade, moon cricket. Like I got more respect for the one who's up front. I'm just saying, man. I just assume that's how they talk at their dinner table, right? See those moon crickets? Like, Erica says, I'm the worker who wants a raise because I know you didn't spend more than $300 to buy sandwiches. Okay. Sharon says, word, Kamar, but I'm saying some of us celebrated Juneteenth Day as a holiday before the giving. I'm still gonna throw it up as foul. I mean, we've been celebrating Juneteenth Day forever.
Hey, Kev, I get it. You know what I mean? But I'm one of the people that don't knock nobody for nothing they do. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I done figured out. I done got to a point in my life where I make Juneteenth Day profitable for me. You know what I mean? So like I make it good for my business. My family benefit off of Juneteenth now. Okay.
Did you know employers haven't added Juneteenth Day as a holiday in their employment contracts? It doesn't surprise me. I'm old enough to remember when Martin Luther King's birthday was not a holiday, and black people had to go to bat. We had to go to get on the front lines to get it to be a holiday. Stevie Wonder and all those celebrities, and for it to be a federal holiday and all this kind of thing, that was a fight. So Juneteenth Day is no different. Let me see. Dion said white people don't acknowledge what was done to us and still going on to this day. A lot of them do. Some of them just don't. The ones in the power, the ones that are influential, I understand they don't want to admit nor acknowledge what happened because then money would be owed. Think about it. Because we've been talking about reparations for a long time. For them to come out and say, okay, yeah, we see, especially with critical race theory. And really, the thing about critical race theory that I did appreciate was the fact that it spoke on the legalities of racism, how racism is an institution. It ain't just about a bunch of backwoods rednecks sitting around talking about I hate niggers. It's about the racist policies that were intentionally implemented by our government, redlining, segregated schools, income disparities, things like that, created disparities by removing jobs from areas where people of color live and putting them primarily where white people live. In Milwaukee, we see, oh, there was an industrial collapse, and the city of Milwaukee lost hundreds of thousands of jobs. Well, there was also white flight, and guess where those manufacturing jobs show back up at? Where the white people moved to. And that's evident by you having the wild counties, Washington, Ozaukee, and Waukesha, which have some of the highest median incomes in the country. Wasn't shit out there but farms, people. There was nothing out there until those white people fled Milwaukee and moved out there. That's the kind of legalized racist practices that I focus more so on than somebody saying, you nigger. Oh my God, you call me a nigger. Like, oh, what you want me to do? Fall apart? I just throw you the finger and keep chucking and just say fuck you, hunky, and just keep it moving. Like, that's what we really got out of the civil rights movement, is just the ability. And they say, I don't like niggers, to say I don't like hunkies either, and keep it moving. Like, you can't just jump up and kick me in my ass no more for looking you in your eye when I'm walking down the street. That shit don't fly. Shabaka says, Shabaka St. Court says, greetings from Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Shout out to my brother out on the West Coast in California. Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced on YouTube and Blog Talk Radio. Erica says, say that, Kamar. She said, talk your shit. Shabaka saying they doing a show tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central. Call in, and there's the number. I'm going to try to get with y'all. I haven't been on Shabaka's Black Experience in a while. I always have a good time when I'm on there. It's getting warmer, though. So, yeah, my G-Rods might be in effect. And they say EFFCECT. It keep getting warmer. Your boy can go right back out in the yard and spend most of his time like I did in the summer. So I'll be out. I'll have time to do the show. He said that's some of the stuff we'll be discussing tomorrow night. She's laughing at green beer. Hey, Blast, I see you in Arizona. Aaron Brown, he said he's laughing his ass off. Let me see. Dion says, bro, no cap. I don't wear red, white, and blue. Well, neither do I. But I'm one of those people I'm a black person that says we are the only true Americans. So I'm not one of those black people who say we need to leave here and go to Africa. I believe this is our country by right. Because people say, well, what about the Native Americans? Well, they were indigenous people who were removed, right? But if we talk about America, the concept of America, the United States, this is our country. We're the only race that's created by this country. I'm African American. Okay. From where? Please tell me you're not getting this off DNA Ancestry.com, who we talked about when they were purchased by Blackstone, who is a tremendous, tremendous world power Illuminati type conglomerate. So it ain't no telling what you getting when you send your DNA off to these motherfuckers talking about, tell me where I'm from, right? So we're the only true Americans. So that's why I always laugh at white people when they say, oh, you need to go back to Africa. I'll be like, why? I'm from here. Ain't you say you German? Take your ass back to Germany, right? I thought you said you was Italian. Go back to Italy. You go back home. Not me. I'm at home. Sharon Evans says, so black and white people, black and go to the white neighborhood to trick or treat. A lot of black people do say I ain't gonna trick or treat in the hood. White ice is colder. I'm going to the burbs, and then you end up with a razor blade or a needle in your caramel, right? So it's white ice is not colder. Erica Hunt said, "Listen, my Juneteenth outfit costs more than my July 4th fit. To think about it, I put the July 4th outfit on from last year. Listen, my mother and father came up in the Jim Crow South, my people. And you know what they did every 4th of July when we were youngsters? They took us and bought us a new outfit, a bunch of meat to cook, a bunch of fireworks, and we celebrated the 4th of July. And they were ex-cotton pickers from Mississippi, right? So I don't know. We talk about what we gonna celebrate and what we ain't gonna celebrate. And what you celebrating Juneteenth for? I'm like, Kamar, I'm pretty much like, do what you do as long as it don't infringe upon me. As long as it doesn't violate my rights, I wouldn't give a hot damn what you did. That's why the joke of people who live alternative lifestyles, like gay people saying, oh, you're homophobic or you're transphobic or you're any kind of phobic. I laugh at that because I'm like, I don't really care what you do as long as it doesn't infringe upon my rights. You can be as gay as you want to be Hall of Fame gay, be Liberace gay, be Boy George gay. We talking about the top gays of all time gaydom, right? Be that kind of gay. As long as you don't try to enforce it upon me or mine. As long as you don't now pass a bill that says, oh, well, all little boys have to wear dresses at least 2 times a year to understand their femininity when they're in the 1st or the 2nd grade. Now you're going to have me say, that's some bullshit. We ain't doing that. Little kid won't be there that day. Right. And I got the right to do that. So anytime you tell me I have to do what you do or like what you like, or I'm committing some kind of aggression or some kind of microaggression, I think that's where the problem comes at. So celebrate Juneteenth, put the Juneteenth Day ice cream back in Walmart, man. I'm trying to get some Juneteenth Day ice cream this year. And I'm gonna get me some and put it on Facebook. Ernest called it some give me 5 ass ice cream. Give me 5 on the black man side, right? He just called me a coon, right? Like he just called me a coon. See, I know what you're saying. I know what y'all thinking out there. Let me see. Chat room popping. Sharon said, I'm so black, I never promote red, white, and blue. That's people say they pro-black and then they go to the military. Now you really doing the bidding of the Zionist government that we operate under. T.R. Arthur said, don't do it. We don't want you to get canceled by the woke people. I'm not really worried about one thing you can't cancel is truth, right? Nobody can tell me realistically that I need to be canceled because I say I don't want my son to wear a dress. Why would I be canceled because of that, right? I didn't say anybody who wears a dress should be killed. I didn't say I don't want nobody else to ever wear a dress. I said I don't want my son to wear one. It's just like people who say I won't let my kids dress a certain way. Why? You ain't going out here looking like no thug or no hoodlum. I feel like now you thugophobic, right? I feel like now, right? You real nigga phobic, right? Like, oh, he can't sag, right? He can't wear a hoodie now, right? Like, so it's just about preserving your own space, man. And so I don't try to tell nobody else. That's what I'm saying. I agree with Kamal, man. I do criticize people who celebrate Kwanzaa until they understand who Karanga was. And if they say, Kev, I understand who he is, I know what he did, and I still feel the same way, then I say, well, happy Kwanzaa, mofo. Get it in. Go get your Umoja and your Kucha Caligula and go get all that and celebrate all 20 days of it, or however many days it was that he came up with. Rail looks up like, damn, did he just say that? Yeah, Rail, that's what I said. Fuck that snitch. Aaron Brown says Alabama porch monkey. Yes, that's some of the shit that they say to you, right? He said he got flagged for saying porch monkey. Yeah, man, you gotta be careful. He ain't gonna stop though. Look, he put spear chucker in the chat room. People like, oh my god, somebody's in the chat room trolling the show. No, he's a black man who's saying this spear chucker. That's an old school one right there. Spear chucker. She says, talk your shit. Erica said, talk your shit, Kevin Barnes. I'm gonna do mine. Listen, this school that we come from, but my mama used to say, never say anything behind somebody's back that you won't say to their face. That's always how I've been. Like, so if I said it, then I said it, and I'm not gonna be trying to backslide on it. Listen, I said exactly how I feel. We got to get back to the fact of respecting people's right to feel how they want to feel. What kind of boring ass society would we be if everybody was carbon copy? If everybody felt the same way, if everybody liked the same thing, this shit would be super boring. Ain't variety the spice of life? I thought the fact that people can be any different kind of way and feel any different kind of way is the unique thing about our country. Armando Duckworth said, "Thug is a mind state. Sagging come from slavery and homosexuality." Yeah, well, go to like a rolling 60 on Crenshaw in LA and tell him that. He'll say, "Cuz, what you talk about, man? This is what we do on this is what we've been doing on the set forever." My father used to talk about that, but dudes in the 60s wore high water tight pants. So I'm like, y'all look funny. What are you talking about? Yeah, I sag, and I wasn't gay at all, and I wasn't a slave. As a matter of fact, you couldn't come in the hood back in the days with some skinny jeans on. We probably would have jumped you, right? Like, why you got them tight ass pants on, bro? That shit ain't cool. So she said, I don't think thug is a state of mind. I think thug is a generalization. It's easy to look at a poor kid who doesn't have anything, who's out here dealing with the cards he was dealt, and say, "Look at that thug." I mean, a lot of the rough street dudes, a lot of these kids that you see, even when I was young coming up, you'd have seen me with a group of my partners when we bailed in Northridge back in the days, and you'd have said, "Look at them goddamn thugs." Hat turned to the left, sagging, just all the way left with the shit. And you said, "Look at them damn thugs." But out of that group, how many of us went on to do good things? How many of us actually had good hearts and were good kids, but we were dealing with the cards that we were dealt? You got somebody who, I've always talked about the drug game, like the drug game is an ends to a means, right? Because if you find yourself in a situation where it's just all bad, and we all know what that is, you do what you got to do to get up out of there, but you transition, right? Like, so you say, "Man, I'm a hustle until I can find me a job," and don't get addicted to that lifestyle, right? Because the lifestyle for drug dealing is what people fall in love with more than anything else. It ain't even about the money no more. It ain't even about the status no more. It ain't about the adulation. It ain't about the girls or the cars. It becomes about the lifestyle, how I move when I'm a rich ass drug dealer. I pretty much do whatever I want. I have no rules, and I got income to support my tomfoolery. So people get, that's why you see drug dealers do crazy shit. Like, why you got an alligator in your pool? Like, it's just what you do in this lifestyle, baby. You can get a private jet and fly to Bucharest. It's like, why? Why you want to fly to Bucharest? It's the lifestyle. It ain't even, because the money becomes inconsequential once you get so much, right? The people say power, I'm looking for power. Power, that's another word that's debatable in its meaning. Let me see. Armando says a lot of people don't know the history of a lot of the clothing trends. Well, I'll tell you right now, what's his name? What's his name in Texas, the rapper? Slim Thug is in trouble for saying he doesn't wear any clothes that are designed by gay fashion designers, because a lot of people don't understand that a large majority of the fashion industry are homosexuals, and they pretty much design a lot of the clothes we wear. That's why you see the emergence of things like tight V-neck t-shirts and skinny jeans. And
I
all of a
think
sudden, men with their
that's a
ankles
problem.
out now. That was
I think
gay fashion, right?
I think
Like,
it's sucked that it's a problem because he said that.
okay.
You know what I mean? Maybe you just don't want to wear clothes from gay people. Like, I mean, shit, man. We all get so caught up on how other people feel.
Right.
It ain't none of your business how somebody else feel. They
Okay.
just offering the information.
Okay. Yeah. You see, you saying what we say all the time is people be worried about the wrong shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you worried about the wrong shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Armando says same, not with the saggy, but I understand because I was one of those kids. He said, "Yeah, I did a whole speech on that." Robin jeans. Yeah, I thought young people looked crazy. I thought young people looked crazy with Thunderbirds and all kinds of shit on their pants, talking about these and these French crosses and shit. This is true religion. It's $500 for a pair of jeans. I'm like, dumbass. I'm still rocking Levi's. That's what I do. I'm still rocking Dockers and Levi's with a crease in them. Y'all don't make fun of me for the crease.
It's a podcast I watch. Well, I watch a bunch. Like, I stay in the podverse too.
Oh, okay. Welcome.
But I'll be looking at, like, I watch like 19 Keys, Social Proof. There's a cat named 19 Keys who has a podcast called High Level Conversations. And he had Devlin Carter on there. And if y'all not familiar with Devlin Carter, He's a black man who started out as a sneaker customizer, and that evolved to him actually starting his own brand of clothing and sportswear. So what he was saying is that, you know, what a lot of people don't understand is they are spending on a brand name because basically there's a psychology behind selling clothes. And a lot of people, it's either they say they make the most money off of black people due to our ignorance or our insecurity. And they say that insecure people spend money on expensive clothing because back in the day, because of segregation, you wasn't able to shop at Neiman Marcus and shit like that. And then when they, you know, desegregated and integrated, it became more of a class thing. So it's like, yeah, black people can shop at Neiman Marcus, but they can't afford to shop at Neiman Marcus. So he was saying we spent a lot of our money on the expensive shit because it was almost like a, but basically it's a status symbol. You know, hey, I can shop where the white people shop. You know, you trying to show that to black people, but then you also buying it to show the white people, hey, I can buy what you can afford, so I'm your equal type shit. So he was saying it's a lot of psychology behind it, and we don't even realize that even Prada and Gucci shit is made in China by the same motherfuckers that make the other stuff. They just wait to add the care for label in Italy, so now they can say made in Italy. But ultimately, it's all made in China. It's either gonna be good quality or it ain't. And motherfuckers paying, you know, hundreds of dollars above the retail market value just for a status symbol due to insecurity.
It's always easy to address the outside before you address the inside, right? I like even with like, okay, so I'm a car dude, right? And I have an old school that I've been sitting on for a while. And people who know me know they always talking to me, man, when you gonna sell me that car? Yada yada yada, right? The main thing when you get an old school is to start with the inside. The engine, the suspension, the drivetrain, that kind of thing, and then worry about the outside. A lot of people go at it ass backwards. They slap some paint on it and just ride, and then it's broken down, sitting somewhere, it ain't no good, and it's like, oh man, what I'm gonna do? You can buy it from me. No,
Right.
you always start the inside. So with a person, with yourself, you want to work on the inside. It don't do me no good to dress up in $1,200 worth of $2,000 worth of clothes, but I feel like I'm worth $5 on the inside. Low self-esteem is low self-esteem. You can't dress it up or disguise it. And so a lot of us, you're right, that it's a status symbol. This is Gucci, this is Prada, this a Rolex, this is data. Well, a Rolex is a luxury watch, but it's a watch.
Right.
They sell it, right? They sell other watches. Now, I get it. There's nothing wrong with wanting the finer things in life. And if you work hard, you deserve fine things. You deserve the right to say, you know what? I done paid my bills. I'm taking care of my kids. My family is straight. You know what? I'm gonna go do something nice for myself. I'm gonna buy me something slick. I'm gonna get me a nice whip. I'm gonna go get me some jewelry. That's fine as long as you wear the jury don't wear you. As long as you drive the car don't drive you. Are you the same individual in that expensive luxury whip that you was riding in the bucket? You should be, or you shouldn't be getting a new car. You feel me? Because you ain't did the internal work yet. So but that's just my opinion. And I'm just one man. And this is Outlaw Radio, where you deserve the right, where you have the right to say whatever you want. The opinions expressed on Outlaw Radio are solely those of the motherfucker that said it. Know who to be mad at, right? Like, it's the show where you can never be wrong, right? As far as your opinion goes. She said that's exactly what they do, right? I was just reflecting on my struggle because I used to have to live in order to survive and transition. I had to go through to get where I'm at. We've all man, I just referenced a time in my life where I don't even know what the hell I was thinking, right? I don't like, it's like, come on, Kev, what were you doing? Like, you was trying to blow this shit. And I knew better. But what had to happen was I had to make a transition from one place to another. And it took some time. It took some life experience. And that's why I say we quick to throw labels on people and really, throw the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah, look at them thugs, right? Look, you look at Kamar right now, you listen at Kamar right now, you would never know Kamar was once considered a thug. He was gang. You look, dude is gangster. He's street dude. You wouldn't listen at him talk now. You'd think he was Alibaba ever since he was, 12 years old. If you'd have met this brother some years ago, you'd have said, damn. Because first of all, I didn't even know his name was Kamar. I thought his name was Bull. I thought that was his government name, right? So I knew it wasn't your government name. I'm just saying. That was what you wore. That was how you like, I'm Bull. This is how I'm going to exist in the valley in the shadow of death, right? And so when I hit these streets, I gotta do what the Romans do. Armando Duckworth said he made the Robin jeans to draw attention to a man butt. Well, if a woman is looking at it, I guess that's okay. But if that's where it takes the man's attention to say, "Ooh, look at the cross on his pocket," now we got a problem. Like, bro? What's the deal with you? I didn't even need to see the back. I knew the stitching, the style of the jeans. I just thought they was ugly, and I've never paid that much money for a pair of pants. It just, for me, it didn't make sense. Now I know some brothers who was getting money, and so that's what they wore. That's fine. Just you. It's you. But don't look at me and laugh and say, oh man, you a bum because you don't wear Robins. Because I have been in some situations where your $2,000 worth of clothes didn't matter. We got more attention than you did with our Marshall fits on. I got on $50 worth of clothes, bro. So $100 worth of clothes, and you ain't getting no attention. You sitting by yourself with your Hennessy all night, right? Let me see. Read between the lines on that one. Octavia Manuel Wright, she said, yep, and blacks were and still are targeted to buy things that don't have real value. Well, we believe in disposable income. Because black people are under the impression that, listen, I don't even make enough money to save. I don't make enough money to build a business, but I do make enough money to go get me a slick fit and go to the club. The income is disposable. We are the biggest consumers. What was the number, Kamar? Was it $2 trillion? The spending power that black people were supposed to have a couple years ago that we was talking about. How much was? I can't remember how much it was. I thought it was like that.
I ain't for sure.
It was a lot of money.
I think it's at least in the billions.
Okay.
Because they was talking about we had the largest spending power. That's why they were saying we shouldn't have to wait for elections to get our shit heard, because if we organize and unify, we would be able to make things happen just by the controlling of our money. But so like even with the comment, they were saying how we targeted. We are targeted, but the sad fact is, once people have been abused so long, they learn how to exploit and abuse themselves. So like even the brothers who, you see going to the club with, this ain't even gotta be a strip club. I seen niggas in a regular club throwing money in the air, dropping money for attention, oohs, eyes, and I guess his options on which chick he want. So, that ain't come with any kind of targeting. This is just a motherfucker trying to reenact the music video to get some ass. So it don't take much to get us to literally throw money on the floor.
Yeah, if you sell us a narrative, we'll jump on it. Like, and we see one celebrity, like for years, people who were janitors, people who worked blue collar jobs wore Dickies. The first time we seen Eazy-E with a pair, we all ran out and got some. Dickies stock went through the roof. Same thing with Timberland boots. People who was hikers and mountain climbers was wearing Timbos. As soon as we seen Biggie with some, and myself included, we got us some Timberlands. So all you gotta do is make a commercial. Erica says with $2,000 rims and don't even have AAA to tow if they slide off the road. Yeah, man. Sometimes you got to think before you leap. Sometimes you just got to leap. Dion, I can't see your comment there. Hey, Alicia Mullins, what it do, my sister? How you doing?
Peace.
He said, Kev, what you sitting on? Are you talking about my old school, my baby? I got a 1971 Monte Carlo. A-frame, first generation. And I'm in a position. This is a sidebar. Finally, I'm in a position that I want to really tinker with it a little bit more on a higher level. So this summer is going to be dedicated to just kind of throwing, because I at one point I used to throw a lot of money at it and I did all this stuff to it, and then I just kind of got away from cars and it's just been in my garage. But the one thing they say about an old school is the first part of it is having the car. Once you get the car, you can take your time and do whatever you want to it. So, but yeah, I got a 1971 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. It's beautiful, actually, and it's fast, right? Like it's fast, right? So I'm just this summer I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it, man. We once were my brother and some of his friends, we were trying to get a car club started called the Chevy Boys, and we all had old school Chevys. My brother wants to kick me out now because my other car is a Charger. He said, "You a Dodge man now, you Mopar. You can't be in the group no more." So I'm like, I still got my Chevy though. So he's telling me, no, I'm not in no more. So I guess I'm false flagging, right? Dion said K Bull was a beast at Hamilton. Right. Kamar. He looked up like, hey, don't talk about that. Don't talk. I'm holistic now. Damn it. I'm Gumby now. Damn it. She said that's what they wore all month long. Let me see. Armando said, right, very true. Shout out to Earl Henning. Been a while, my brother. Welcome to the show. Y'all share the show, man. Share the show. I love when I'm going through Facebook and I see somebody done shared it randomly. I just laugh at all the haters. Like, can't stop this shit. He said a pair of Levi's and put the rest on the bill. As hey man, or some Dockers. Dockers is multi-purpose, man. I could wear them to work. I could go out with them. I could thug them out and sag them and crease them. I can pull them up and tuck my shirt in. Dockers is a good investment. She said they at the after set throwing money. Look, it ain't nothing wrong. If that's where you at in your life and you want to kick it and party, man, do what you do, man. Because at the end of the day, you need to get this shit out your system. And I tell a lot of cats, I jumped off the porch when I was young. So we did a lot of stuff when we was young. So now that I'm old, it's not exciting to me. I'm not chasing it. It's like being up in the club with, and I ain't talking about the strip club because I've never really been a strip club guy. I'm just being up in the club at the bar, with the tab open and we toasting and drinking and kicking it. We did that so much when I was young. Now I'm so cool to just sit in my garage and just chill and just think and just try to come up with concepts and stuff like that. That's a much better scenario for me. I wouldn't want to go to after set if unless my wife was there stripping, and then I'd be like going to get her and bring her home. Like, what the hell you doing? Your ass in the car. I'd be that dude coming in and get his girl and take her out the spot where everybody got their money out. What a horrible scenario. I'm a horrible person. Armando says it's sad because the mind state is the video mindset. We have to see the real trend versus the trend set for us. This is not new. Like my father used to tell me about cats dressing like the Temptations and dressing like, Marvin Gaye, and in the 70s, cats dressing not Marvin Gaye, but in the 70s when everybody was a Parliament George Clinton fan and cats had big ass afros and it's always trends. There's always trends. There's always styles, but you shouldn't get lost in them. That's like the biggest thing is when you get lost in it. And then when it's over, you sitting there like, okay, well, what's my worth? And then you start looking for what's the next best thing. Now you got a real issue because now you can't really define what you want versus what people tell you to want. Eric said, are you going to put it in a show? You know what? When I'm done, when I finish this car the way I want to, it will be in some shows. But my thing is, I'm a collector, right? Like I can't have one of nothing. If I get one, I got to have two. If I get two, I got to have three. So right now, my focus is getting my Monte Carlo to a certain place and then getting me a Cutlass. I want a 77, 78 Oldsmobile Cutlass with a 350 rocket and some T-tops. I really want a fofo too. If you're a car guy, you know what I'm talking about. So as soon as I can get my Monte Carlo to a certain place, I'm probably gonna go and find me a Cutlass, and then I'll start all over again. Like, boy, I done found me a Cuddy. Now, then that will be in the show because that's like one of my all-time favorite cars after the Monte Carlo.
I can see if my uncle ever sold his. I remember he was selling. I think it was a '72 Salon, Cutlass Salon.
Oh, collectors. See, it's certain things I gotta have. I gotta have a Hearst shifter. I need bucket seats. And I'd rather buy it when I don't want one that's already fixed from somebody. I
Oh, okay,
want I
yeah,
want to I
his
want to find I want to
yeah,
find one that I can kind of, it's a canvas so I can paint on it. And
okay, yeah,
I have discovered that there's a place that actually sells like fully refurbished classic cars on a financing type situation. So that might be an option that I want to look into, because I absolutely have to have me a Cutlass before I leave this earth. I gotta have one. I gotta
feel you,
have, that's just what I do. But Mama says, Erica says, my mama
Hey
said,
Kev, I don't know if you remember, man, but that used to be that used to be me, my boy Randy. That used to be our thing, them cutlasses back then. I actually had that 77 Cutlass Broham with T-tops.
oh, did you?
Yeah, a white one. You don't remember it? You probably, I don't know if you came around during, and you might have caught it.
I might have been gone, Kamar, because we left after
Yeah. Oh
'94. I
yeah, that's
left.
right. Yeah. Y'all did. Y'all went to
Yep.
y'all did go to school.
Yep. I left in '94. I didn't come back home for a full summer. I came home briefly. One time I was here for 9 months, but it was winter time. But I didn't come home for summer again in Milwaukee until '99. So I probably missed it. You know what I'm saying? But man, but you understand, man, those cars,
Yeah,
man, is
that was the shit, man.
come on, man.
From like 70 all the way to damn near 80. You know what I mean? Like them it was them styles right there. They was the shit.
Man, the 70s easily, two things I get the 70s credit for: the best music and the best cars. I'm talking about, man, I like the best, man. The best, like muscle cars, that period from about 67 up to about 75, 78. Man, you just look at some of those cars, man, and you say, whoa, you're talking about, and every major manufacturer was putting out some slick. American Motors, Dodge, Oldsmobile, Cadillac, Chevy, everybody was putting out all those cars from the 70s usually are the best cars, man. So yeah, that color's top notch, man. Ain't nothing like a 442, man. So that's what I'm getting my mind made up on that one. Real, I want to talk about your church experience, but I'm having a technical difficulty, so I'm gonna step
okay.
out. I want you to start off talking about your journey in church, because people, when we hear you talk about religion in church, they don't know really how far back you go and how deeply you got into it and where you're at now. You feel what I'm saying?
Oh, okay,
So, like, I
yeah,
know you told us about your grandmother and you going and being really groomed to be, how you started your walk of faith and what helped you transition to where you are now. I gotta check these mic ends. I need you to just kind of get it started and I'll jump back in.
okay, for sure, for sure. Well, to anybody who hasn't heard my story, shit, so actually, my family wasn't religious until I was about, like, we didn't even go to church till I was about 11 to 12. Now my little brother was old enough to talk, so I was 12 because he probably had to be 2 or 3. And uh, he was scared to walk past certain corners. He was pointing in the sky, talking about he sees some shit. So my mama just got fed up with it and was like, "Look, we need to go to church. We need to get our life together." You know how, when shit gets stressful in the black house, it's like, that's it. We got to get our life together. We got to get to Jesus. So, so at about 12, mom started going to church with my auntie. She went a couple services with my auntie, and the next thing I know, we all was going. And that was about 12 years old. When I went to church, my auntie, who is my mother's aunt, she's always been heavily in Church of God in Christ. So when I started going to church, she was our Sunday school teacher. And like I said, I was about 12. And we were educated on the Bible because my auntie, is she, like a lot of other Kojic Christians who really believe heavily in end times and
I don't know what just happened.
shit like that. So her thing was, ever caught up, And just in case y'all not caught up in the rapture, we need to prepare some of y'all to be tribulation saints, is what they called them. So we went through Bible boot camp, based off of David saying, your word have I hid in my heart so I will not sin against thee. So, we did Bible shit to where we could memorize important scriptures, be able to, spit it without fucking up, be able to tell you who wrote it, why they wrote it, who they wrote it to, and what was the spirit or the energy surrounding it in them time frames. So we got a real cultural perspective on the Bible. So, like I said, that started when I was 12. So me always being a fan of folklore and mythology, because like I said, before I started going to church at 12, I had already read Greek mythology. I'd already read the Iliad. I've already read the Odyssey, because I used to walk to Atkinson Library and grab the mythology book. Boom, 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 boom. So that was kind of my saving grace when I entered church, because I wasn't fully indoctrinated as this is the end all be all, because I had already been introduced to other people's ideas of theology and shit like that. So growing up in church, I eventually became because I was always into folklore and mythology, I became an avid studier of the scriptures. Also, us being groomed to be tribulation saints, that's some fucked up shit to teach kids, that the end of days is coming and y'all might not make it and y'all might be left behind, where you ain't gonna be able to have no more Bibles, animals gonna be going crazy, people gonna be turning you into the authorities, you ain't gonna be able to get into heaven unless you die for the word of God, so because that shit was scary to me, to combat fear, you combat fear with knowledge. So I studied the Bible heavily, studied Revelations that talk about the rapture, studied Daniel that coincides with Revelations. Then I got into the book of Enoch, just all kind of shit. I was a scholar. So I end up teaching Bible Sunday school, end up being groomed to be an armor bearer in the Kojic faith, where I, assisted the pastor. I brought messages, things like that. And I used to be heavily into ministry, where I used to witness to people. Go, in school, I carried my Bible around. High school, I carried my Bible. College, I carried my Bible. And I eventually got into what's called apologetics. And that's the Christian form of like debate. You would defend the Bible against what other people had to say about it based on scripture. So as I studied apologetics and just desiring a closer walk with God, I really studied the Bible and studied Semitic anthropology and culture. And that's what kind of led me to accidentally studying myself out the Bible. Like I said, it wasn't my goal to lead church. It's just that as I studied the Bible and was able to actually get the facts, I see the Bible for what it really is. It's one people's point of view on their history. And just like anybody else telling their own story, you're going to tell shit that excuses what you do, and you're going to tell shit that embellishes what you do. So as I studied that shit and saw that, and as I actually started studying Canaanite mythology, you start seeing where the people who call themselves the Israelites actually they pretty much went to and fro, assimilating, still they went to and fro, stealing, killing, and assimilating culture. So even who we call Yahweh, the God of the Bible, that was actually a Canaanite storm god who was a war god. And then you have El, which was the Canaanite most high god, or the father god, who had 70 sons, Yahweh being one of them. And El even had a wife who was her name was Asherah, who you also hear about in the Bible. You know, like all these names are in the Bible. So I'm not saying anything like against the Bible. It's just unfortunately we go off of what we're told should say instead of doing the footwork into actually reading it for ourselves. And I guarantee anybody who actually sit down and read the Bible for yourself and know what you're reading, you're not going to make it out of the Old Testament before you view the Bible as a history of genocide, shit. just a whole lot of shit that, I mean, you know, I guess I ain't gonna disrespect anybody's beliefs, but if you really read it, you'll see what it really is.
I said that because religion has become something that's very divisive in our community, and like even the mere mention of it a lot of times will cause a lot of us to withdraw, because a lot of people say, because you notice there's such a stigma attack with the black church. I don't even have to go into detail, right? Like it's the stigma that we have on the black church is crazy. And so even in the chat room, Erica said right away, she said, I don't trust churches. However, I am a daughter of the Most High. And even with justice, a lot of us want justice, but we don't understand that the kind of justice we're talking about is Old Testament justice versus New Testament justice. So people say, oh, you steal something, cut his hand off. Well, that's super Old Testament. That's some super gangster shit, right? Like if she get caught cheating on her husband, you stone her to death because she was a whore, right? Like it's two different books in one book, right? You know what I mean? I think religion and spirituality, which Kamara likes to refer to it as, is one of the most misunderstood things in our community. I think a lot of people and they are scared to even, they're scared to even really look into what it actually is, but they speak against it. Like a lot of people say, I don't believe in this and that, but they don't know the Bible. They can't go into the Bible and say, well, what is this? Or what is this? Or how do I translate this?
Right.
Because somebody else told them, man, that's fake. Don't believe in that. And so you get tunnel vision.
And that's why I think it's so confusing. You know what I mean? Because see how they brought religion into the picture. You know what I mean? On how they brought it in. Like it was taught, and the way they did it was kind of fucked up because they made it seem as though they're two of the same.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And they're not. You know what I mean? Religion talks about the spirit. But spirit and spirituality, you dealing with your own spirit. You know what I mean? You did it. And seeing really that spirit is the energy. It's that God energy that everybody has. That's how we connected. You know what I mean? We all moving off the same electricity.
I think.
And that's the difference between, well, I could say that's the only difference, but that's one of them.
I think one of the problems we got in this community right now, y'all feel free to join in this conversation out there. The number is 262-202-5131. And the chat room is popping. I think one of the biggest issues we have is that a lot of us just don't believe in nothing. And it's gotta be like a real painful existence when you don't believe in anything. When you can't look at small things that happen and understand that these are miracles that have to be controlled by a higher level entity. I'm speaking on right now. Today's the first day of spring, right? Walked out the house today. Somehow, innately, these little birds, these little finches, 20, 30 of them in the bush in my backyard, like they are all summer. I hadn't seen them prior to this day. We've had some warmer days, hadn't seen them. Look in a certain place. Oh, that's starting to bloom over there again. These are things that happen naturally, organically, and we don't control them. Look, the flowers don't die because they couldn't afford to pay their light bill, right? It's not there's not a company that says if you don't pay this bill, ain't no grass gonna grow around your house. You got to pay your grass bill, right? These things happen naturally. The babies that we see come into this world that grow up and develop as time moves on, and you start to say, man, this baby is. I look at my own kids and say, I can remember when they couldn't even hold their own heads up. There's a higher power in control. I'm not going to tell anybody who or what to call it, but somebody who don't even believe or acknowledge that, to me, they have a hole in their soul. and they need to plug it up. And normally people who are just listless and don't believe in anything are people who lead kind of really crazy, wild lives. Some people say sit down and pray. Kamar says sit down and meditate. I think they're the same thing. Only in prayer, you're really talking, you're really saying, you mentally, you speaking. In meditation, what I'm told is you're supposed to just empty your mind and just focus on just being
And
and not
listen.
have anything going through your brain.
Meditation, you listen.
Okay.
And you speaking.
Okay. But it's still a state of saying, whoever or whatever this higher power is, I want to be attentive to what your messages are. I want to be attentive to whatever you send in, whatever frequencies you sending it. And I think when people get away from believing in something, you get a community like we got right now. I say this, we need more Jesus in the community. I think we do. I think more people need to get down on their knees and pray. I think more people need to get out on their knees and say, listen, forgive me for all of the wrong things I've done. I don't know who you talking to, right? I don't know who you choose to talk to, but I think more people need to give it up so they can get it back and just let it go and just blow it out and say, you know what? Let me take all this stuff about myself that I think is negative or I think that I've done wrong and kind of put it out there. And then I can receive positivity I can be reciprocal to the positive energy. A lot of times when you full of negative energy and you full of negative thoughts, you clogged up. So you can't receive nothing positive. You ain't getting no positivity into you because your sink is clogged up. So some of us need a spiritual plumber. I just made that up. Need a spiritual plumber. You need to get your pipes unplugged. And I'm not telling you to become a Bible banger or anything like that. What I'm telling you is find something to believe in. Find something that you can identify with because we all need somebody to talk to other than our fellow people, right? Some conversations that I need to have ain't necessarily with the homeboy. Sometimes I might need to sit by myself and be focused and say, man, if you're out there, I hope you're listening. I know some preachers say, what you talking about? You know you're out there. You know who you want to talk to. However you choose to interpret it is up to you. I just wanted to stop being something that's divisive. I guess that's my point. Like I want us to be able to respect each other enough to say, hey man, it's all just spirituality, right? Let's not put this connotation on it because we do know that it was used to manipulate and assist with the enslavement of us. We know that they used the slave Bible. We know, I mean, first of all, it's kind of productive to take any kind of spiritual advice from somebody who's hanging you and burning your babies. So I don't even know how we just kind of adapted to what they were saying. It's like, why would I listen to you about this? Right? I think that should have been more or less the attitude we had towards the slave masters. Like, I don't believe a word he's saying. Like, how can I take word? How can I take his word for it? Right? Like, so, and that's another thing is that I would like to ask people who are heavily religious is there anything wrong with your understanding or with the interpretation of it being updated based on what we now know? Like, why can't we look at this from a modern perspective? I don't think a 2023 Negro can look at religion the same way as an 1878 Negro can. I think you got to kind of add adjustment where it needs to be made at and kind of move forward instead of being stuck on the same kind of old just record playing over and over. Paris LaShawn says, peace, Outlaws. This is Shay and Kruma. He's running for mayor out in Denver still. And he's down with Shabaka on Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Shout out to Paris LaShawn. Erica Hunt said, we do need more spirituality, but the weaponized religion has to go. Well, yeah, I mean, anything you're using to oppress people, anything you're using and you doing it in the name of some, you know, like the Crusades when the Christians felt like we're gonna get rid of all the Muslims, we're gonna go to their countries and and they got their ass kicked, right? And they went over there to the Muslim countries. The Muslims said, "Not today, not today, partner." They were supposedly superior in every way, right? But you going to do this under the flag of, oh, we're Christians and we're gonna force them to live the way we want them to live. Came home with your tail between your legs. Spirituality, absolutely not. Spirituality definitely needs to be updated. Yeah, because it's more than one show. Of course, like I was raised on that old Southern religion where you weren't even supposed to acknowledge somebody who spoke about another religion. I believe there's a scripture that said, "Don't even bid them a good day." Right? Like, so I used to watch my mama just destroy Jehovah Witnesses when they would come to the door. Mormons, those missionaries who come through the hood and all that. They didn't even. They just the Jehovah Witnesses wouldn't even come to our house, and they lived across the street from us, next door to us. When they were making their rounds, they would consciously avoid our house because my mother would be waiting just to destroy them. Like, yeah. So we were taught this that there's only one way. Just like with blackness, we think our way of being black is the only way to being black. Who controls it? Who says what's black enough and what ain't black enough? We quick to tell somebody you sell out ass nigga. You Uncle Tom ass nigga. Look at these Uncle Toms over here. Look at them. Right? While you smacking on some pork rinds. Or while you going to work dancing your jig every day. We got to be open to people. This goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the show. We got to be open to people doing what they want to do. Right? We have to be open to that, man. And so religion is just the latest part of that. Real, you got to turn your knob up or what? What you got to turn your knob?
Man, as soon as we got to talk about this shit, my Wi-Fi got to trip in. I guess they don't want me opening no eyes tonight.
Right. The devil is busy. I see, and even in this is why this conversation has weight. So if you listen to Outlaw Radio, normally we talk about socio-political things. I want to really give some time to spirituality because lately there's been this discussion of so many, now you see in the media so much Satanism, right? And so much symbolic stuff that's, with Rihanna doing the dance at the Super Bowl, and people said, oh, she's doing the what was it called, the witch dance that they call it. She was doing the I can't remember the terminology for it. Shame on me. The Wiccan dance. She was doing the Wicca dance, and
Weekend dance.
yeah. And so you see this Sam Smith, the singer. He in all his concerts now, he's coming out with the satanic stuff on. Remember, Lil Nas X was a gay Satan a couple years ago. He went down and gave Satan a lap dance and then pulled his horns off at the. It's like crazy symbolic gestures of what's Satanism, and people now there's a church of Satan right now. Lil Uzi Vert, who's a rapper, supposedly allegedly is going around endorsing being a Satanist, and he's into this whole thing and like the imagery of it. And you talked about Aleister Crowley and Do As Thou Wilt with Jay-Z wearing that shirt, his connection to Illuminati. So there's at a time when people are collectively walking away from whatever spirituality or religion we learned from our grandmothers in the black community and our mothers and our fathers. Now this is becoming more prominent. Okay, you're gonna walk away from that. Well, what about this? Right? And so I see that now. That's why that's why I'm having this conversation tonight.
I think it's a diversion to get people away from getting to the spiritual thing that a lot of people been getting to. Since people been getting on this whole holistic journey, you know what I mean? Well, your spiritual systems connect to your physical. So if you're working on your physical, you know what I mean, your spiritual gonna get enlightened. So now if you throw in these entertainers out here and you create this Satanism demonstration and then start promoting it, you know what I mean? As people are coming off of religion, now they'll go to that instead of tapping into their spiritual system, which is actually going to help them. So, you know what I mean? It's like a device that I feel like may be getting thrown in there.
I don't disagree with you, Kamar. I there's something to it. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm one of those where there's smoke, there's fire type individuals.
I think it's the latest scare tactic. Honestly, I mean, we had. I mean that's how motherfuckers work, especially in the media. We had the satanic panic before, like when motherfucking Oprah and them, and it was like this. This is like shit works in a cycle, and that's the real thing about spirituality and religion. It's just understanding your connection to creation as a whole and understanding that creation operates in cycles. Even for a Wiccan dance, I didn't watch the shit, but people who practice Wicca, they don't believe in Satan. Wicca is the observing of nature, just like we did before Christianity. So Wicca talks about the waxing and waning moons, the full moons. You may have rituals and shit with that. They pray to like the spirit of the east, father of the west type shit. Like they just understand that nature as a whole is alive, and the dualities of energy that you're dealing with, be it masculine or feminine. Like even with Satanism isn't, how can I say this shit? Okay. Satanism in itself ain't real. Even what people believe is Satanism, that's basically them worshiping a fucking cartoon character or something.
Right.
You know, Lex Luthor. Like, that's why it was funny as fuck when people were in their emotions when it was like some Brazilian parade and it was the devil whooping Jesus' ass. People was like, oh my God, God is not mocked and all this shit. And that's like reading the comic book being upset because Superman getting his ass whooped by Lex Luthor is too fictional or just characterizations of concepts. So even with Satan, if you really look at Judaism, and like that's my thing, I always say, let's go back to the origin. That's why I like etymology, because when you understand the origin of words, like spirituality, spirit just means breath. That's all the fuck it mean. When you see spirit in the Bible, most likely it was Greek, which was pneuma. The same way we get pneumonia, because it's breath, it's breathing. Because through breath, you gain consciousness. The Hebrew word is ruach. So when you hear all these pastors in the ruach of God, that's just the fucking breath.
Yeah, that's why they was cutting your modem off. That's why they cut your
right,
modem off.
because they don't want motherfuckers to be loose from these fucking mental shackles. I was there. Right. I understand how uncomfortable it is to realize that your foundation of faith was built on bullshit that was beat into your ancestors. Everybody in America who's a fundamentally Black American is Christian because that shit was beat into your ancestors as a method of control.
Well, hold on. Let's clarify that statement though.
Okay.
So foundational Black Americans have a belief and an investment in Christianity because it was beaten into our forefathers. Because I believe it now because that's what my grandmama said.
For sure.
And my father was a preacher, and so he was able to explain certain concepts that I latched on to that still are beneficial to this day. But it wasn't beaten into me. So I would say it was beaten into our forefathers.
So we could talk about the flea analogy. When you put fleas in a jar, fleas can hop like 36 inches, 3 feet. But when you put them in a jar and put a lid on, eventually they only hop as high as the lid.
Okay.
So when they have children who are led, eventually you can cut the lid off and take the lid off and you got a generation of fleas in bondage because you broke their parents. Their parents was only allowed to hop so high. So when you take the jar off, they only gonna hop that high. So then the children are only gonna be able to hop so high because that's what they was taught. It's not a bad thing. It's just the reality. We can use spirituality to gain strength, but the reality is the strength that we gain from Christianity is usually from shit that isn't biblically sound. Like see what a lot of Black people don't understand is
I'm only laughing because you said a jar of fleas, and I'm thinking, who the hell has a jar full of fleas? But that's
they do experiments with everything.
Hey,
I know.
Well, you know, it's like that's just like saying how, like, when that first ship of ancestors came and they started putting Christianity to them, right? And the ones that didn't want to take to it, they got beat, they got fucked up. So then the parents start learning as they have kids. If I don't want my kids to get beat or fucked up, I better teach them to follow suit. You know what I'm saying? Just follow this, but this is what it is. This is what it is. That. I don't want you to get beat. And then through generation to generation, now you got people that's like, well, look, this is what it is, and I stand on it. You can't tell me shit different because, you know what I mean? So, like, that's the same type of thing. Like, the parents of the fleas teach the fleas to stop jumping. You're gonna hit your head.
But the dope thing about our ancestors, which is the beauty of blackness altogether, is they were still able to take our principles of spirituality and hide it in Christianity. Since they couldn't practice any other ceremonies or worship without the danger of being killed, they learned a way to still practice their spirituality under the guise of Christianity. And that's what a lot of us don't realize. Our forefathers did practice Christianity, but they hid their religion and spirituality in it. I mean, I'm Church of God in Christ. So we had the Tarian bench where motherfuckers would sit on that bench and clap Jesus, 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 and you just keep saying Jesus faster and faster until you're speaking in tongues. That shit is from voodoo. Or even when you have the church mothers wearing white first Sunday. And then, or when they catch the spirit and get the dancing so tough that people got to lay them down and cover them with sheets so their titties ain't bouncing their way.
I had a friend. When I was young. I was growing up, right? And on my mother's side was Baptist. On my father's side, they was Catholic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So early, I'm wondering like, the hell going on here? Something wrong? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I started finding out about my friends. I got a Muslim friend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I went to a mosque with him. I saw how they kicked it. I had another friend, a white buddy who stayed in West Line. I went to Sunday school with him and saw how I'm like, all these people kick it different. Hey, look, then I had a guy who stayed across the street who went to a church like what you talking about, real. Yeah. Oh my God, that blew my mind. Hey, I was excited. I was like, shit, they running through this motherfucker.
That's that Pentecostal power, fam. That's that. But that Pentecost, like even shit, okay. Even the okay, so the Pentecostal movement is based off of Bishop Mason, the Azusa Street church revival. That whole Pentecostal movement come from Bishop Mason, Azusa Street church revival in Memphis. But what a lot of people don't know is Bishop Mason is said to have been a root worker and a two-headed doctor, as you would call him. So our African spirituality, we've learned to intertwine that shit into the religion we were forced to take on. But speaking in tongues, dancing in the spirit, the shit, always singing about the River Jordan. They don't talk about that shit in Lutheran or Catholic churches. We talk about that because we have an affinity to sacred bodies of water in our African spirit. A perfect example in Haiti or in places where they were had Catholic masters. You will see that like Shango, I think that might be Saint Michael. You know, they disguised even their orishas as patron saints of whatever, so that they master wouldn't kill them for practicing either voodoo or became Santeria in the Spanish speaking places, but they were practicing their African heritage under the guise of Christianity, because if they practice anything but Christianity, they would have been killed.
I grew up in the Baptist church, which is a lot different from what you're talking about. I didn't really discover that until I got married.
Yeah,
my wife is Kojic. She grew up Kojic, and it was a shocker. Like, and I'm gonna be honest with you, growing up, the way they dressed and the way they kind of kept to themselves, my mom would always say, that ain't nothing but a cult, right? And so she kind of discounted the validity of what they did. She like, they dance around putting oil on each other and all this and that. But I learned from my wife that they looked at us as Baptists Christians and said
Baptists
they really ain't even saved.
They
Right?
not
Like,
saved. They go out
Hey,
clubbing on Saturday and don't even
yeah,
stay
hey, you
clothes to
know,
go to
like
church on
both of
Sunday.
those,
So
and
we
see,
looked at each other. You know,
hey, look,
it's fucked up.
both of those got ties to our spiritual systems tradition. You know what I'm
okay,
saying? If you really look at it, like you was talking about Kevin with the oils and stuff like that. You know
right,
what I mean? Traditionally, that come from us. And then even with Christianity, it's a lot of stuff that's in the Bible, you know what I mean, that come from our spiritual systems. Like in the Bible, it say you're made in his image or you're made in the image of Christ. In our spiritual systems, it says we're made in the likeness of peace, in which nothing can disturb. Both of those are God, right?
right.
You know what I'm saying? So like the farther back you go and the deeper you get into it, you learn to read in between the lines of the Bible. Like we all know how like different stuff, the Bible is rewritten so many different times, you know what I'm saying? But it's still some moral stuff in the Bible. You know
Right.
what I mean? From where it all come from.
Right.
And if we can learn to pull that out of all the bullshit that's in all the different Bibles and just pull the basic morals out, the meat of it all out, you know what I mean? We'll be all right.
Erica
It's
had a
not
question
arguing
for
about
you.
all that shit, I mean.
She had a question for you, Rail.
Yeah.
She said, have you seen The Woman King? And could you agree that there's an example of spirituality displayed in that movie? I haven't seen The Woman King, so I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I haven't been in a rush to watch The Woman King or the new Black Panther just because I I find it hard to enjoy movies that I see the swindle in. You know, again, like I said, how our emotions are weaponized to exploit us. I feel like white people give us a movie, supposedly our history, and we gobble it up because we're so starved for things that will give us a sense of pride in ourselves. You know, I mean, so I don't like Western depictions of our shit because it's always gonna have that Western spin on it. Either like even the Woman King, either there's gonna be a white person or a half white person that come to the rescue because there will be no Western movie allowed without that shit. So,
Right.
so I didn't watch it, but if they show any touch of African spirituality before it was tainted by, you know, Pope Nicholas VI, because that's how we ended up in slavery. You know, you couldn't enslave a person unless they were black and not Christian. That was the requirement. So if you was black and Christian, you might have got a pass. It was the people who said, "Nah, I'm not. Nah, I worship nature." There was the
Okay.
people. Oh well, we can take you as a slave because our Pope said we could because you're a black heathen.
She says, I've experienced more spirituality outside the church than I did in the church. And she asked that you watch it for her, please. Woman King. I listen, I'm with you, Rail. I'm a Marvel guy. Like I grew up with the comic books and I was really on that for a long time. I love most of the Marvel movies. Mine was more like what you're talking about is absolutely valid, but mine was more about with the Woman King. I just didn't like the spin that they put on it. I felt like it was more something that feminine because I have a problem with white feminists trying to incorporate their struggle into our sisters and trying to really influence our sisters with with their platform because I feel like that's counterproductive to our black family structure. And with the Woman King, with the Black Panther, I just looked at it like I feel like we should have kept the story pushing how it was, and we should have just got another. I mean, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, but he was not the Black Panther in real life. He was playing a character, right? Like, so I think I felt like the character should have lived on. But that's just me. Caller, you are live on Outlaw Radio. What's the deal?
What's up, Kev? This is Erica Hunt out the comments. I just had to jump in on this spirituality. I am typing fast, so excuse my typos in the comments, but I need y'all to watch that movie. To me, spirituality, like Real said, is about the breath. You know, it's your gateways are your ears and your eyes, and that's how come music is so influenced. That's how come voices of people are so influenced. But watch it this time for me. And I'm gonna say, don't do like they do the Juneteenth ice cream and be like, oh, I ain't gonna watch it because they done, you know what I'm saying, put their spin on it. Don't do that. Don't say that, because that's the same shit we saying about the ice cream for Juneteenth, right? So go ahead, take time out, watch it for me, and then let me know if you pick up on the spirituality tips that's in there, because they are using some African ways of spirituality, but then the storyline and how people are being placed in position for different outcomes to come in that story is great. Yes, we already know that the Hamis were one of the biggest kingdoms that sold their own people. We know that. History has showed us that. The white people don't mind telling us that because they want to transfer the blame onto our people. But in reality, spirituality is about your willingness to do good or evil. Are you willfully standing up against evilness? Are you willfully doing evilness? So when you guys get a chance, check that movie out for me. Watch it and see if you see what I see. You know what I'm saying? Do you see in that movie what I see? Because I've watched it 6 times. But I'm also a strong Black woman who loves strong Black women leads. And it's full of strong Black women. So I've watched it 6 times.
I'm not really. I love strong Black women too, but not strong to the point where you're gonna chop my head off. I usually steer clear of the macho, the woman who I hear women in saying I can do anything a man does, but then to me that makes our relationship no fun, because I can't be a man because you don't need me around because you could do it. If I come outside and you changing my oil, like, don't even worry about it, baby, I got you. I'm like, damn, hold on, man, like shit, like.
Hey, I seen it. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Personally, I like the movie. I feel like it was some parts in it, you know what I mean, that you know what I mean, that dealt with our spiritual systems, just like in Black Panther. There was some parts in that movie that dealt with our spiritual systems. But I don't look at neither one of those movies as though it was history. You know what I'm saying? Because see, you talking about people who wrote the movie who really don't know our history or our true tradition. You know what I mean? It was some people who they may have had to add into it. But yeah, I do feel like it was some stuff in the movie, you know what I mean, that touched on our spiritual system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
If you have any like if you interested in our true African spiritual system, I would like to recommend Professor James Small for you to take a look at. And then also Dr. Kaba, Kaba, Kamene, Kamene. He has a book called Spirituality Before Religion, and then he has another book called The Shabaka Stone, which is one of the earliest evidence of spiritual systems in Africa. Then you also might want to, I don't know if you fuck with metaphysics, but you could check out Phil Valentine or Bobby Hemmett for the metaphysical side of spirituality.
Okay. There you go, Erica. There you go.
Yeah. Definitely we'll look into that, but like my comment said, I've experienced more spirituality outside of the Bible, books, and churches more than I have inside of those things. And when it really comes down to it, the only thing that hasn't changed in time is men. You know what I'm saying? The men have been there, and men choose to either do good or bad, and that's been consistent through all of history, even until this day. You got leaders who get in high power positions, but they have that decision to choose. Either I'm going to do good or I'm going to do evil. I'm going to make a decision that's going to help the people or harm the people. So when it really comes back down to it, spirituality is more about humanity, because it don't matter what color your skin is. Am I going to treat you as as if you're inferior to me, or am I going to treat you like you one of God's people? But shout out to the Most High, all praises to Yahweh, because I'm definitely a daughter of the Hebrew Israelites. That is where I find my most connecting spirituality. And before you guys hop on my ass about that, I've already known that some brothers have also taken the teachings of the Hebrew Israelites and weaponized that as well. But it's the same way they do it with the Muslims, with any other religion. They've always taken our spirituality and weaponized it against us. But hell yeah, Kevin, my mind is blown because you really don't talk about spirituality, and I'm definitely a big believer in getting in tune with the creations and the Creator and the earth and the environment. Because if you look at it, like, and it wasn't until I became a mother that spirituality really, really came into my life. Like, I really picked it up. I was like you guys. I was taught, well, shit, I was in foster care. So whatever foster home I was in, that's what religion I was in at that time. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't until I became an adult and became a mother and started making choices of my own is when I started to be like, why am I doing this again in this church?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have to say Jesus, Jesus, Jesus 50 million times? And then when I got into spirituality and meditation, I realized that, oh, I'm just chanting like the Buddha do. Or I'm just meditating like the spiritual hippies do. You know what I'm saying? It's all the same form. Kamar said it earlier in the show. He said it all has the same principles and morals, and that's to protect humankind and do good by one another. So I guess we have to call in on this. I'm not a scholar. I never really took to the Bible to learn or read it back and forth. I did my Bible studies when I went to Sunday school. I read my stories, but I also looked at what my experiences in life were. And I realized that if I was out here trapping or selling drugs or doing all of that shit to hinder my people, did no good come to me. But when I made the conscious decision to say I'm no longer going to do that, that's when good started coming to me. And when good started coming in, the devil started coming even harder. But I had to continue with the mentality of I'm going to do this for God's people. I'm doing this for God's people. And more, I got stronger. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not no scholar, so I ain't going to lie to you, real. I'm not going to pick up all 5 of them.
Well, you definitely would want to, I mean, I would say it like this, ma'am, and I mean no harm at all. We do more research about the car we gonna buy next than we do on something that we say governs our immortal soul. So I would really like to.
I shopped for a car. I shopped for a car, but in reality, I said, you know what, God, whatever you got for me, just lead me in that direction. And when my instinct and intuition said, call this number, I called this number. And low key, we talking about cars. I called that number and thought I was going to go buy a Chevy Trailblazer for $5,000 with no hopes of being approved for any type of financial situation. And when I got there, I was approved for something way better and more than what I needed with no money down. So, but that's because I took into consideration that God was going to lead me to what He wanted me to have.
God did
it. Sometimes it just takes that piece of mind frame to have to be like, I let my light pour. Lead me, God. Show me your light, and I'm gonna follow.
Right. And I think it's, once again, I would never judge you because you found your comfort zone,
right,
with where you found it. Once again, my thing is this: I'm to the point now where it's like, I just want you to believe in something. Like it affects me when I run across people who have no beliefs. If they say, Kev, I don't do all that Bible stuff, I don't believe in God, and I say, what do you believe in? And when they say nothing, then I get concerned. And I'm like,
and honestly, Kev, 9 times out of 10, that's a lie because what they believe in is the green dollar.
You make God out of what something else. What was you finna say, Rail?
Oh no, I was saying that's still a belief. The thing is that belief has to step in when we lack knowledge. You can't believe something and know something at the same time. You have to one or the other. You can't believe and know at the same time. It's one or the other. So a lot of times, if we don't know, none of us were physically back at the beginning to see what the hell happened. So whether we say we created, which I believe, or we say that we happened as a random accident that is shown mathematically to be exponentially impossible, that's still a belief. So, everybody has a belief, but when you want to know, and that's where I fucked up. instead of believing in God, I wanted to know God because I felt like, just like in a relationship, how the fuck you say you love somebody that you really don't know? I mean, yeah, people can tell you about them, but you have to do your due diligence and know who the fuck you fucking with. So if we would do that about somebody we would spend life with, why don't we do that with somebody we're gonna spend eternity with? So I started digging deep into the history of God, to the first appearance to who, to what society. So like I said, as I travel back, you see that there, even in our own Bible, everything has been changed to Lord, but there were Elohim, which is God's plural. That's who we have in the Genesis story. In the Genesis story, it says Elohim made the heavens and the earth and decided to make and said, let us make man in our own image. So as a Christian, I always wondered who the fuck was he talking to when he said us. But when you dig back through history, you find out that the Genesis story is an offshoot of a Canaanite myth where it tells you who the Elohim are. The Elohim are El, which is the father god of Canaan, and then we will call him El Elyon, which is the most high God, because that's saying that out of all the other gods, he is the most high God. He was basically who Cronus was in Greek mythology, the father of Zeus and the whole pantheon. So even Christian religion started as a pantheon or a polytheistic thing. So what ended up happening, like, and I'm saying this is in the Bible. This is shit you can look in the Bible. That's why names in the Old Testament have L at the end. Daniel or Daniel, Ezekiel, Israel. That's because that was that God. You don't hear about Yua until you get to Joshua. That's after the Hebrews supposedly came out of Kemet or Egypt. But those were two different gods. El had 70 sons. One of those sons were Baal, which means Lord. So whenever you hear in the Bible he going against Baal, that ain't a name, that's a title. It means Lord. But what eventually happened is the God Yahweh and the cult of Yahweh decided to combine Yahweh with El, the father god, and with Baal Hadad, which was a storm warrior god. So all of this shit is just somebody taking bits and pieces of like snow and but putting it together, and now we got boom. One
I want to
God, but they were all so this is factual, archaeologically, established knowledge that that you can dig back and validate through research, not just the belief. This is knowledge. So my knowledge is what hindered my belief, because like I said, you can't know and believe. You got to know or believe. One or the other.
Believe, right.
And shout out to everybody.
It's always better to know than to believe.
Exactly. You could believe, you could fly.
Shout out to everybody. People out there who looking at this and they saying, I don't know what the hell Rail is talking about. Shout out to them too.
Right.
But that's where I want to make a point at too, Rail. Yeah, it's great to know all of them facts. It's great that you got all of that proof. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to updating spirituality or religion, do that really matter in today's time?
Really
if I'm the type of person that'd be like, well, I want to go off what I believe. Your facts mean nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't say that it actually happened. But also, no disrespect towards you, because I love Bible scholars because they keep the story up to date. You see what I'm saying? And there's a place in spirituality for everyone. That's how come there were scribers. That's how come there were storytellers. That's how come there are nurses. There's a position for everyone in spirituality. But you got to think about how many spiritual wars have been started because
Religious wars. Let's say
in one
religious
book it
wars,
says
not spiritual
Y,
wars.
and in another book it says L, but over here we say it's G, and over here we say it's J. But we've done killed and totally ignored what God said to do for his people because of one detail in somebody else's life.
This is a
And
religious
now hundreds of people have had to die in this war because you said it's an L and they said it's a W, but shit, we all committed sin because we're murdering each other off of a detail that we really don't know is true or not because we didn't live 2,000 years ago. But yet we killing off children and women and dishonoring our own selves in today's time. So if we're gonna update it, yeah, those facts is important, but like we gotta make sure we don't let those facts turn into weapons. Let's agree to disagree at some point that yeah, history is history. It's exactly what it is. It's our story. But what we write now for our children, are we gonna continue to go head to head and bump fists and fight and continue to kill each other off because we disagree? No disrespect to Mama Barnes, but Kevin said it earlier in the show. My mama would devour a Jehovah Witness coming to my door. How godly was that, though?
Hold on, don't be talking about my mama. Don't be talking about my mama.
No disrespect to her, but it's been done. It's been done, and even coming up in my time, I was taught to look down on somebody because they practice a different religion. But that wasn't God.
Hold on, Kamar. I wanted you wanted to jump in, so I want to make sure you get heard before because it's 10
o'clock.
Yeah,
I was just finna say that. I was just finna say that. You know what I mean? The different wars, like you was talking about the L's and the Yahwehs and all that. You know what I mean? It's safe to say that these were religious wars because you're talking about different gods. This wasn't spiritual.
These was gangs banging on each other.
Exactly.
Worship Yahweh.
And that's exactly right. And that's why people argue today about this shit because we claiming these different things. That's what they do. They bang on each other. That's just what they do.
Yeah, and my mama did that because what she had been taught was that she's supposed to fight against that. Like it's like coming up to my dope saying GD folks, and I'm a vice lord. Now I'm taught as a vice lord, I got to get this cat off my porch. Right.
Or definitely done ran a couple people off my porch, but that wasn't godly though.
And when you get into your spiritual systems, you loving on everybody. It don't matter what they believe. You understand it ain't none of your business what they believe.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you loving on them all. That's how it is when you get to the spiritual part. That's why I hate when people mix spirituality with religion. It's not the same.
And we're gonna pass the collection plate. And we're gonna the doors of the church is open because it's 10 o'clock. So we're gonna have to pick this up on Wednesday night. I think it's very valid. Now to go into on the level that Rail is something special. But for me, I was looking at it more from like a community morality standpoint. And I think anytime you start to believe or start to accept something and start to like strive, like I even heard the sister say, as long as I was out here doing what I do, nothing good was coming to me. But when I started to say, you know what, let me put some structure, let me get something to believe in, let me try to live for something, then the positivity flew, it just flew in. And so I'm saying, and that right. So I'm saying to our community, like, and once again, it's great to know all the stuff that my brother talks about. It's great to know that it's that deep. But I think first and foremost, people need to realize that there is a such thing as right and wrong, regardless of how you want to kind of water it down, how many times you want to walk the line. There's some stuff that's right and there's some stuff that's wrong. Committing abusive, oppressive acts against another human being, denying them their natural rights, thinking that you have the right to take their lives or cripple them and greatly affect their lives. Those things are wrong, right? To be able to go out and say, no, I feel you, my brother or my sister. You can't eat. Let me help you eat. You have nowhere to stay. Let me try to find you somewhere to stay. Those things are right. It's just that simple. And so we always try to do dirt and explain it because of whatever belief system or lack thereof that we have. And I believe what we need to invest in as a community is more morality, regardless of who you believe in. Really just invest in it, because the only thing we should be focused on right now is increasing the love and decreasing the hate.
Right.
And those are two real definitive things. You could see the hate and you could see the love when it happens. And I think those are the things that we need to invest in. And so we can stop arguing about all of these kind of minor, details. I love what my brother, Minister Farrakhan, said. He said, we ain't gonna argue about religion because we don't know what the hell it means anyways. We argue about that when we get free. So on that note, I will see y'all Wednesday night, man. Shout out to my brother Kamar, my brother Rail. Shout out to the sister. Shout out to the people who tuned in the whole show to hear the whole conversation about spirituality versus religion. It's just very important that you understand who and where you are in times like these, right? It's very important that you, especially if you have children, get yourself centered somewhat so you can really be a barometer for positivity and really starting to teach your kids how to care about people and how not to be selfish and be selfless. It's very important that you do those things because I used to love when my mama say, don't nothing beat an understanding. Because once you gain an understanding, you realize when you encounter certain entities or certain energies and you come to the conclusion that they criticism of the community outweighs their contributions, so that ultimately makes them coons. I will see y'all Wednesday night, man. Peace and love. You thought I wasn't gonna get it in. It is what it is, man. Peace and love, man. Shout out to Atkinson. Shout out to Capitol Drive, man. Shout out to you, brothers, man. Outlaws for life, man. Come on, that's a dope ass reel. I'm finna share it again, my brother. I love it. Yes, sir. Absolutely.